And the US falling back is good for everyone, in my opinion. But I will show sympathy. And unlike a lot of people who commented in my video where I was saying that, you know, not all Trump supporters knew what they were voting for, I'm not going to blame you Americans who constantly vote for empire. I'm not happy that you're now being punished by the Trump administration. I'm not happy. And I'm not going to say, oh, well, if you didn't want this, you should have voted for left-wing parties. Like, you should have made a third party that won. I'm not going to say stuff like that, because the bad part about all of this is why I like the US retreating from the global stage. I don't like what they're doing, obviously, domestically, because they're destroying the country. And the comparison I'm going to make, not because I think Donald Trump is a Russian asset or like in league with Russian spies like a lot of liberals, they're turning America into post-Soviet Russia. And what this means is it's like a speed run of deregulation and looting by the 1%. And that is what happened in post-Soviet Russia, where the country was so much worse off after the fall of the Soviet Union because the IMF came in and in exchange for all these loans made them implement this free market capitalist system which destroyed Russia and also allowed this oligarchy to form that still is in power today. And that is what we're seeing with the United States, I believe, as well. We're seeing a small oligarchy loyal to Trump getting in power and looting the country. And there is no plan for the future. And also what we're seeing with the foreign policy, like I said, as much as I like the US retreating, it's not really driven purely by some sort of libertarian ideology. It's more driven by Trump and his cronies' pursuit of profit and how to cut costs so they can make more money. Like, all this cost cutting you're seeing with Doge and what they're doing with, you know, US aid and stuff, that's not to then take it home and implement universal healthcare, is it? It's nothing rational. It's they want to cut everything so Elon Musk can get more handouts from the government. Like, he can get like more SpaceX contracts and stuff like that. And the United States government can be looted by these people and there's more money for them to take. Not that they're all like, we should focus on making our country better first and then we'll help out everyone else. I want to talk about all of this today, especially in regard to the Ukraine stuff. But yeah, as a left-wing person who is anti-NATO, anti-US, anti-capitalist, the US having less of an influence on the world is, I think, undisputably a good thing. And the US leaving NATO is a good thing as well. And I've said this in previous videos that if NATO is to be a purely defensive alliance in Europe, the US needs to leave. And I'd say Turkey as well. And as much as I still don't want NATO to exist, them leaving makes its existence seem to make more sense because it is focused primarily on Europe and not them having to commit mercenary forces for US foreign policy goals in exchange for US funding. So all of that coming up for you today. Please like the video, follow me on social media at The Cavanacle on Instagram, also at The Gamernacle on Instagram, where I'm just posting about my recent games I'm playing, and also check me out on Patreon and YouTube memberships if you want to support the channel. So I want to start with the anti-NATO thing and just elaborate a bit more, because Fox News ran an article just like outlining all the Republicans who are talking about this. So momentum is building among some Republicans and Elon Musk to withdraw the US from NATO amid stalled negotiations to end the war in Ukraine. Trump reportedly floated pulling the US from the alliance during his first term. We all remember that. Senator Mike Lee has publicly backed such efforts in recent weeks and said it's time to leave the alliance after NATO countries held an emergency meeting with Ukraine in London. Lee said on Twitter that if NATO is moving on without the US should move on from NATO. What should we call the movement to get America out of NATO? America exit? Lee said on the post, it's a good thing that our NATO allies give us such favorable trade terms based on the fact that we provide a disproportionate share of their security needs. Oh wait, they don't. Lee isn't the only lawmaker. Thomas Massie also said that NATO is a Cold War relic. So the political push here, it could be driven by ideology, right? Because like Thomas Massie is this libertarian, so they don't like overseas foreign spending anyway. But I will say the Elon Musk thing is interesting. He also posted something else on Twitter, which is so funny. He writes this on Twitter. The EU leaders and Zelensky are having fancy dinners while men die in trenches. How many parents will never see their son again? How many children will never see their father? Elon, you could ask that about yourself. How many of your children will never see their father and you're not fighting in a trench? So yeah, obviously, all of this coincides with the recent disputes with Zelensky and Ukraine, and we saw that spectacle in the White House. But yeah, what we're seeing with these people is a drive to pull away from NATO. Like I said, with people like Elon Musk, I think because he is I think he is the biggest contractor with the Defense Department. I seriously think it's all about pulling funds away from stuff they don't personally think they benefit from to stuff that they will personally benefit from. When Elon Musk says this, I don't think it's driven by ideology. I think it's driven by his pursuit of more power and more profit. With the others, we are seeing a lot of people kind of want to return to this, they call it isolationist foreign policy of the United States between 1918 or 1920, whenever they left the League of Nations, and the Second World War. And if you know your history, you know the US has never been an isolationist nation. It's always been an expansionist imperial power, including in this period. But what you saw with this period is them focus more on their sphere of influence. So they didn't really care about Europe in this time. They focused more on South America, the Caribbean, and Asia. And that's what eventually brought them in to dispute with Japan, of course, not because they had a clash and they so hated fascism. It was you had two imperial powers clashing over territory in the Pacific region. Then during the Second World War, add France and Britain to that as well. And I guess that's what we're kind of reverting back to is the US, in some regards, if it goes through this, is reverting back to its 1930 status where it's more concerned with its sphere of influence. And this does include Asia. I haven't seen too much talk about the United States significantly pulling out of Korea, Japan, and getting rid of its commitments to Taiwan. I haven't seen much talk around that. So it feels like that sort of reversion of they want to focus on stuff that's closer to their borders, closer to their direct sphere of influence, where for them, Europe isn't the direct sphere of influence because although they back these countries, they obviously have all these bases around Europe. At the end of the day, these are different nation states that kind of have autonomy from the United States, and the United States doesn't drive their policy, and they're not always reliable partners in terms of United States foreign policy goals, and they often find that more in Asia, where South Korea is a great partner of US imperialism, probably one of the best they've had. Japan does act as this as well, and if they're trying to contain the new superpower of China, it makes sense to focus their efforts more in Asia and withdraw from Europe, because especially after the Ukraine war, Russia is a superpower primarily for its military, which has been decimated during this conflict, and although it has good combat experience, I don't think poses a significant threat to US foreign policy goals anymore, and that's how you can read it if we're going to talk about more realist international relations theory interpretations of what's going on right now. But in terms of the Zelensky stuff as well, I just want to comment on that. I think both parties knew what they were doing. I don't think Zelensky couldn't contain himself, and Donald Trump finally irritated him enough to explode right at the White House. I think the political gamble he made was, I'm going to do this and expose how much I don't have commitment from the United States government, so I get Europe to back me more. And what happened afterwards is he was tweeting or retweeting all these European leaders saying they stand with Ukraine and will give Ukraine anything it needs. Now, it does appear that it hasn't really worked, this gamble, and even though he's got European support, a lot of the European leaders were saying you have to make it right with Donald, and I did see that Ukraine are going to sign this mineral deal, but I think that just exposes to a lot of people the face of American imperialism, right? So now what we're seeing with Ukraine, that the US want the minerals and Russia want the minerals, and they're just fighting over resources essentially in this proxy war. Now, people sometimes get funny when you say proxy war. Proxy war doesn't mean Ukraine are fighting on the behalf of America, right? The only reason they're doing this war is to fight for America. They're not. They're fighting a self-defensive war against the Russian government. What it does mean is the US backing of Ukraine isn't for freedom, isn't for human rights, and it's never been the case. Doesn't matter if it was Joe Biden, and doesn't matter what president they have been armed under. The United States doesn't give a shit about Ukrainian independence. They give a shit about general foreign policy goals of containing Russian influence in Europe. And now it seems like the better deal is Russia doesn't really pose a threat to them, Americans, anymore. Let's carve up Ukraine's resources between each other. And sometimes what I appreciate about Donald Trump, as someone who hates America, is he just says the quiet part out loud. No one can ignore it when he just says it. We're just going to do this. I want Ukraine's minerals, and they're going to repay us for all the aid we've given. And I like it because then everyone can see, oh yeah, America are the bad guys. And anti-American sentiment in Europe has just gotten so insane. And you wish it would be over stuff arming Israel and everything they did in Gaza, rather than just like being honest for once. But at the same time, I can take either. Like, I'm happy people hate America more than they used to. It is funny though, like I'm seeing lots of posts from Americans apologizing, like they're saying, I am so sorry, like these maniacs are controlling our government. And I'm just thinking, it doesn't matter if it's Donald Trump or Joe Biden, you're always evil. Like, the United States nation state is always evil. Like I said, Donald Trump just puts a different flavor on it. But also, if you've been following my coverage of the Ukraine stuff, I said Joe Biden or Harris, they would have pushed Zelensky to have a deal this year as well. I don't think that has actually changed. But the isolationist flavor of this, the anti-NATO stuff, that is what's different. And there's something else I just want to add to the conversation. So we've got the anti-NATO stuff, but then also we have just written down like a little list of everything they've been pulling out from recently, and I just want to speak about like NATO in the broader context. So we have the tariffs on Canada, which apparently are being reviewed right now, but they have obviously done this, talking about taking over Greenland, pulling out from the World Health Organization, wanting better relations with Russia, wanting denuclearization with Russia and China, and obviously drastically cutting funding for US aid. So all of those things are like big changes in US foreign policy. And like I've been saying, I think most of them are for the better. So the bad part is there's lots of countries that rely on the US for other things. So like US aid, for example, right, does a lot of like good work along with all the stuff to do with like, you know, CIA influence. But there's lots of people who rely on these programs, and Donald Trump cutting that as like an arm of US soft power, I wouldn't say might be bad in the long run, like if we're thinking about like overall, but it is bad. It's going to affect people, it's going to hurt people, it's going to kill people. But we have to, obviously, I think most countries, you have to move past a reliance on the US if you ever want to pursue interests for your own country. And that's why I think the US pulling out of NATO is a good thing, like I was saying. Although I think NATO should have been disbanded after the Cold War, we've seen now that Russia will use like drastic military force on a country like Ukraine. So the idea that there should be some sort of like defensive alliance against like a hostile country like this, primarily focused on the European Union and countries around it, I think makes way more sense than a military alliance to defend Europe, where the United States is basically in charge of it and will say to these countries, come help us invade Iraq, come help us occupy Afghanistan, or like, you know what's going to happen. We're not going to fund your defense. We're not going to come to your defense. You got to do what we say. You got to be mercenaries for US imperialism, or we're not going to protect you. So taking the US out of the picture, I think, and if you would seriously want to think NATO is a defensive alliance, in my opinion, that's a good thing. And if you're talking about the nuclear element, like Britain and France both have nuclear arms and stuff. And obviously we've seen, even with the Ukrainian war, Russia's capability has always been like really, really overhyped. And if it's combating like several different groups with like way better navies, way better air forces than Ukraine, then yeah, like it feels like you don't even need the US. And the US is counterproductive to a defensive aim, if that's what we're going for. So that's a better thing, and that's something I said before. If you want to take it seriously that NATO is defensive and not an expansionist thing at the behest of the US, that's a good thing. I've seen a lot of liberals going mental that Donald Trump wants to scale back America's nuclear stockpile, which is insane. Like, that's objectively a good thing. And he said that he wants to have better relations with China and Russia, and for all of them to reduce their nuclear stockpile. I like that. Like, why is anyone mad about that? I saw people in like liberal subreddits going absolutely crazy. I'm like, do you just want World War III or something? Do you want World War III if the US do it on like the side of the good guys or something? And World War III will be like the last war ever. So it's insane to not like this. The final one, of course, which we haven't really spoke about in this video, is the US pulling out of the UN. Now, this is something that is not in the mainstream discourse. You don't really hear many people say this. But then Elon promoting this makes me think it's maybe a conversation that's being had. And I, for one, would also be happy if the US left the UN. What I would like is if the US left, Israel would have significantly less protection in the UN, so would the Saudis, and I think that would be a good thing. But also what would probably happen as well is if the US left the UN, Israel are also going to leave the UN, and they're just going to say nothing applies to them. The same way, because they're both not members of the International Criminal Court, they just say like, yeah, this don't apply to us. So when Netanyahu goes to the US, where he would be arrested if he went to an ICC member, he goes to the US and he's fine, right? And that's probably what would happen. But to me, isolating the US more and more is a good thing. And if the US, like in terms of foreign policy, becomes more like Russia, then that's just good for the world, I believe. Because the US succeeded in the British Empire as the global hegemon and spreading capitalism even further around the world, and then after 1990 becoming the only power, basically. And what that's done to our planet, basically destroyed our planet, how much conflict that's caused, how much proxy wars have been fought, how much wars over minerals, resources, all that stuff, it's because of the US, and we're all playing the US's game. And what would be nice if the US scale back, it's just going to be a more, I guess, equitable relationships between like major countries. Now, what I would like with Donald Trump even saying like he wants better relations with Russia and China, that is a good thing, because these are the countries with the big nuclear stockpiles that could plunge us into another world war. So for whatever reason he's doing this, you don't have to like Donald Trump. That's a good thing for the world. You want us to be more peaceful, because we have a little thing called climate change where we're all going to suffer. It doesn't matter what border we live in, and we all have to work together, and there has to be steps to reduce tensions between all these countries so we actually do work together to survive as a human race, and any steps towards that are an actual good thing. However, this is one thing I will say about the US withdrawing itself from the international scene. The one thing I'm worried about here, with them withdrawing to a less proactive role on the world stage, it feels like to me, with the new US-Russia relationship and the Saudi relationship and Russians' relationships with Saudi, Israel, and maybe even like the connection with China, I really hope this doesn't end up in we're just all controlled by one global oligarchy, which is all united. Like, that's what would happen instead. Like, it's not going to be we're all united as the human race to fight climate change. It's that, no, the oligarchy of each country have now given up their differences. So like the Saudis and the Israelis, for example, was a more recent one, where they're just like, no, we're going to all work together to maximize the extraction of capital. And if we come together and reduce tensions between our nation states, there's going to be no barriers to that. Like, we will just be able to do that. And even you're seeing recently with Donald Trump making this new green card that it costs like $5 million, we're just going to have a global oligarchy which is untouchable, and they're all going to be in it together. You saw with Mohammed bin Salman, he said to Anthony Blinken he doesn't give a shit about Palestine. That's a massive thing right now that wouldn't allow the oligarchy to join together. That's obviously what you've had with Gulf state oligarchs and the US and Israelis. It's what you've had with Russians right now and the rest of Europe because of the war. You get rid of all of that, you get rid of this tension, and you just get these people to come together, the world might be even more worse off. That's the one thing I'm worried about with the US pulling away and seemingly making more overtures for peace with like China, North Korea, Russia. It feels like it could just be like this general global oligarchy who have all just become besties. I know they are all besties anyway, but when you take away like all major conflict differences and everything, I don't know. So yeah, overall, the US empire ending, I'm not as excited as I thought I might be. I thought this day would never come, but we're gonna watch it, you know, over the next 4 years, it's coming. And like I said, when you're watching the situation in America generally, it's horrific. Like, what they're doing to America is absolutely horrific. And I'm guessing anyone who lived in Russia during the 1990s can probably relate to seeing your country basically be absolutely ransacked by capitalists. And ransacked and looted with no regard for human life. Like, we're seeing all these cuts to social programs. Recently, they're talking about social security as well. And like I said, this happened in post-Soviet Russia. Life expectancy drastically decreased. I think there's like 50% unemployment. Like, the life standards in the 1990s in Russia were far lower than the dying days of the Soviet Union. You know, all those things you're always told about, like bread lines and just how bad it was to live in the Soviet Union in the 80s. Well, it was even worse in the 1990s because of what they did to the Soviet and Russian state. Even as leftists and anti-capitalists, let's not get it twisted that Donald Trump, Elon Musk, and these US oligarchs, the reason they're cutting NATO funding, or they might leave NATO, the reason they're withdrawing from European politics and they want peace with Russia and everything like that, let's not pretend they're people who want to save all this money, bring it back home, and invest in America, because America needs drastic investment. It doesn't have loads of basic things most countries have. If you compare its development to even countries like China, which are far poorer, overall, it's just a bit of a joke how much more China is building up its infrastructure than a country like America. So you'd think if they can make that argument, even though I disagree with it because I think America owes a debt to the rest of the world, where it should be repairing countries it's devastated, you could understand all of this stuff. And you could maybe even agree with it as a left-wing person, being like, we have so many problems back home that we need to solve. But no, that is not what's going to happen. Imperialism will continue. It's just going to be more specific. Like, the US are going to massively back Israel. The US are not leaving the Pacific. They've been there for nearly 200 years. They have such a massive influence in there, and it benefits them, especially with the rise of China. I don't see the US pulling out from Asia at all. But in terms of Europe, yeah, they're just like, Europeans, you don't pay enough. You don't like fund your own defense enough. You rely on us so much. Basically get fucked and do it yourself. And it's a double-edged sword where, yes, Europeans will have to spend more on defense spending, but more independence from the US is a good thing for everyone. And I'm just sad that US citizens are going to have to suffer at the hands of these cuts where, yes, this US oligarchy is completely looting the nation, but I'm not going to pretend I'm like horrified that the US might leave NATO or something like that. Like, I wanted that for years and years, and if it happens under Donald Trump, then so be it. I'm not going to celebrate Donald Trump as a good person. He's not doing it for good reasons. Like many leftists have said, sometimes someone like Donald Trump can be good for the world generally, just because of how different he is to traditional US presidents. And in his first administration, he filled it with Bush-era neocons who did business as usual. Now he's filling it, like I said, with oligarchs and random people. So they're just doing like unhinged crap that hopefully will benefit us all in the long run. And like everyone's memeing about with China, the best thing to do to become the new superpower is do nothing. Just keep your head down and get on that grind set and let the US destroy itself while you keep rising. US scaling back, good. Reasons for Donald Trump doing it, bad. And what Donald Trump's gonna do with the extra cash is also bad, because it's not going to the US citizens, it's just going to...
Oh, shit, God damn it, son of a bitch.
God damn it.
Okay, did we get all that? Okay, now we gotta do for the English as a second language Spanish-speaking audience.
Ay, Dios mío.
God damn. Okay, we got that. What do we got here? Oh, it's PBD.
Oh, it's PBD.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. It's one of my favorite YouTubers, PBD. Let's check in with what his little is up to. Did you ever think you would make it? I just said it was what you did to me. Yeah. No, this I meant for me. Let me drop a verse. Hey, baby. Let me drop a verse on this. Here we go. Here's my verse.
Daddies are more stronger than mommies.
Okay, so it's episode 555.
Oh, congratulations,
man.
Whoa. Hey, what is this, a one-way street, man? I said congratulations. Congratulations, and
show me the proof, dumbass.
So it's episode 555.
And we still alive.
The one and only Andrew Tate. We did it once.
Who?
The first time I think was in Madrid. Second time was in Romania. Third time is in the States.
Oh,
he's in the flesh. He's here on the set.
You're sitting there jerking off the porn and watching fucking sports with Dave fucking, what's his name?
Portnoy.
Dumbass. Dave Dumbass. You're jerking off of the porn.
Man.
So I'm saying your capability of a man as a man in all realms, your capability as a man reduces the amount of time you need to spend there.
I love this show. PBD and the boys, Adam, Vinny, the old man. I can't remember his name. What the fuck? What does this have? 1.6 million views in one day.
Oh, damn.
This is 3.5 hours. I think the full name of the PBD show is Time You Can't Get Back with PBD. Time is a finite resource with PBD, it should be called. But anyway, this is Andrew Tate. I guess that's why he's very popular on the internet. 1.6 million views.
He's very popular on the internet.
And Andrew Tate is a very committed self-promoter. And all through this interview, he's like, I'm a warrior out here. I am fighting a war. Everybody's coming for my little ass. Everybody's coming for my little British ass. I'm out here fighting. People want to stop me. They will not stop me. I'm going to the top. I'm a champion. All this crap, you know? And I remember when this guy was like really trending on what Google? I don't know how to finish what I was just saying. When he was really trending on Google, I was like, what the hell is this? I guess I got to do a video about this for click reasons. And the thing I know about Andrew Tate, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that I could prove in court, airtight case, is that the revolutionary cause that Andrew Tate is fighting for is getting little kids' credit card numbers. That's for certain. I'm absolutely 100% on that. I don't know if you guys know this. I don't talk about my personal life a lot on this channel, but I was a little kid at one time. Okay, that's private. That's private. Do not clip this. I was a little kid at one point. I had a picture of a Lamborghini. I said to other kids, look at this. I wanted one of those. And if there was a grown man pulled up in a van and said, hey, I can teach you how to get one of those if you buy my arbitrage course.
If you drive up.
What the f? If you buy my drop shipping course, you can have that picture. Also get in the van. I'd probably be in. I'm not gonna lie. And you know, nowadays people just want. People really need something to fight for. People need something to fight for. Okay, this is a just cause. If there's a little kid out there, credit card number unobtained. If I can change the life of one child by convincing him to get his mom's credit card number, give it to me. It really makes it all worth it, okay? It really makes it.
Everybody's doing their thing.
Not me.
Nobody's paying attention to what's going on. And then all of a sudden, Andrew and Tristan Tate are on a flight on their way to Florida. They haven't tweeted it.
That's a weird lead up to that. Hey, everybody's minding their own business, you know, going to CVS, getting a Celsius, going to the doctor, going to Honduras, getting a Carhartt jacket. And then the next thing you know, Andrew took a flight somewhere. Wait, what? Guy took a flight somewhere. You could just say that. The guy took a flight. Well, where did he go? Somewhere. Who cares?
Who cares?
Some internet weirdo took a flight somewhere. Okay, let me tell you this. Billions of years ago, some molecules replicated. That slowly evolved over millions of years into some multicellular life. Eventually formed four-legged organisms. Over millions of years, that turned into primates. Eventually evolving into Homo sapiens and now modern human beings. All that to bring us here, Andrew Tate got on a plane. We'll be right back.
Oh my God. The news is you land in Florida. Everybody sees the video.
Oh, thank God.
When that happens, the great governor of Florida, which is one of the reasons why we moved here, he does a great job running the state. He was asked about you. This is what he had to say. Rob, if you can play the clip.
Come on, Rob. Let's go. Go ahead.
No involvement in that. I read about it through the media. Clearly, the federal government has jurisdiction whether they want to rebuff his.
Okay, this guy is a puke, many say, but man, they're doing him dirty on the audio here. His already irritating voice. Let's get the treble all the way up on that. No bass, and then let's get a hissing sound in the background.
But the reality is no, Florida is not a place where you're welcome.
Whoa!
With that type of conduct in the air.
Oh, hey, Ronnie D, man, what the hell are you thinking? There's children walking around Florida who haven't yet been scammed into drop shipping courses. What the hell are you thinking, you son of a bitch? You goddamn you to hell. You get one of these, and
generally speaking, Chinese people look Chinese.
Chinese, that rhymes.
Isn't the whole point of democracy innocent until proven guilty? I've yet to even have a trial, let alone a conviction. I've never even been tried. After 3 years, I've never been to trial. All those times I'm walking in and out of court, I've never had a trial. And communism, as we've understood it and tried very hard to fight against for so long, the basic premise is that you find the man and then find the crime. Is that not exactly what Ron DeSantis just promised to all of his constituents?
It is.
It's not.
I do really like this. It seems like his definition of political and economic crap is very zoomed in to his unique life experience, you know? The whole point of democracy is innocent till proven guilty. You know, Plato, Socrates, all these
motherfuckers. Can't get through a fucking match.
They wrote about this, you know? If you read that stuff, they're like, hey, if you catch some charges for doing scams and crimes on the internet, you should be able to pay an attorney. Try to get you out of it. Alexis de Tocqueville, or whatever the hell that goddamn guy's name was, he wrote about this many years ago, many centuries ago. He wrote, Shopify should not just be able to kick you off.
If you go down to the mall in Miami and walk around, you're going to walk past 30% of people with convictions. You're going to walk around.
Okay, the part about Miami, that is true.
I'm out in Miami, ho.
And then you can talk about,
I will.
You know, if this is the universe, if this is your own hard work, if you're divinely protected, if it's fate, all of these things. But for some reason, I seem to be very competent and very lucky. And when you're both of those things.
At tricking babies on the internet.
You're a little baby.
I promise you, the chance of me ever considering him as a human being ever again is fucking zero.
Really?
I don't give a fuck about Dave Portnoy. I couldn't care less.
Give him a break.
Wow. Okay. What's this one, by the way, Rob?
Wow.
That's Dave Portnoy. This is Ben Shapiro.
Let's go to Shapiro. So,
little Ben. One second, I'm Ben. Listen, let me tell you about Ben Shapiro. I'm not even going to read Ben's crap. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear Ben's crap. Let me tell you about Ben Shapiro.
Oh, boy. Oh, man. I'm really worried about Ben Shapiro. I'm really worried about it. I looked at his YouTube numbers. Not looking great. Not looking great. You know, he's out there every day like, everyone should wear slacks. Or whatever the hell he's talking about. You know, and he's telling his probably largely elderly audience that they shouldn't get Social Security checks. Or whatever the hell he's doing on there. I don't know how he's going to compete with whatever the hell this crap is. With all these guys out here going like this. Oh, that poor goddamn guy. You know, he's in some kind of weird karma samsara loop where he's like publicly reliving high school or something. Everybody's bullying his ass. Bill Burr is like, that guy's a little twerp or whatever. Now this guy's like, that guy's a little nerd. Poor guy thought if he made a bundle of money, everything would be okay. Now he's just publicly getting bullied like from every angle.
Game. Guy's a nerd, dweeb.
Somebody needs to help him, you know. I think it's time for him to pull a Mark from Facebook, come out with a chain. I'm cool now. Hey, what's up, hot dogs?
It's me, Ben.
I'm cool now. And anyway, on today's episode,
we'll
be covering why bringing a briefcase to school is cool.
And why you should get married when you're 13. Hey, wait, where you going? Come back.
Who? On the conservative
Ben
side.
Shapiro's not a family guy. Ben Shapiro's a warmonger who got sent to war himself with piss his little pants, sitting down and spending the last 10 years advocating for big, strong men to go die in ditches while he sits at home collecting money. Ben is a warmongering piece of shit. He's not a family guy. Ben's actually a bad person. And I'm saying that genuinely. I don't usually...
broken clock, you know, this broken clock situation here.
No, it's me. I'm the bad guy.
Calm down, man.
Kissinger. He's Kissinger, I believe. Mm-hmm.
Henry Kissinger, yeah.
He said a whole bunch of negative shit about me. Wasn't he pro-Iraq war? Wasn't he pro-war?
I think you got the wrong guy.
I don't know the exact schematics of it. But
I don't think it's Henry Kissinger.
Warmongers. There are literal warmongers who are begging for people to be blown to pieces, then tweeting that I'm the bad guy.
What did Kissinger say about you?
Oh, something like I'm bad and I shouldn't be.
Kissinger's dead.
I don't know. Maybe I'm the wrong guy.
Adam Kissinger or the old Kissinger?
I don't know.
This is Kissinger.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, no, Henry Kissinger is dead. No,
That's pretty good. They get a little mixed up about Henry Kissinger there. You know, I love PBDs. Like, that guy's dead, I think. I think that guy is dead. It would be funny if it was Henry Kissinger gets into some internet feud with Andrew Tate. I paid the $50 for his course. Won't let me off the recurring payments.
I want my money back for that dropshipping course.
There's a bunch of little kids back there. It's all little kids. All the information on there you could just find on YouTube. I want my money back. He said I'd make enough money to buy a Lamborghini. It's an interesting rhetorical attempt that he's doing here. You know, he's like, why are people so focused on me when there's like a mass murderers, you know, out here, all out here bombing people? You know, that's true. All those people, including Ben Shapiro, should be in jail. They should be all in jail, you know. But if, you know, the stuff that Andrew Tate is being investigated for, if they, you know, I would say that stuff is probably prison worthy too, you know. This is a very, like, the Andrew Tate needs to stop hanging out with little kids so much because this is a little kid tactic. You know, you try this when you're a teen. Hey, look, I know I got caught skipping school and eating oranges in that park. Whatever the hell I was doing. But what about those kids who were at that party where there were drugs, you know? I just think we need to put this in perspective. And then your parents are like, right, but you're still in trouble, you know, and then you go, right. That's a fair point.
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
Henry Kissinger is dead. No, I want to make sure we... Kissinger was a very heavy workout.
He died at 23.
Which, by the way, you're right. Kissinger was... a guy that caused war a lot. Oh, but you may be talking about Adam Kinzinger.
Is he pro-war?
Adam Kinzinger's not going to be a fan of yours.
No, for sure.
Right.
So let's be professionals.
Okay.
Can everyone stop being emotional and calm down? Let's be professionals.
Calm down, man.
No.
We're the ones being emotional, Andrew.
No.
Amen. Calm down. Quit going like this.
I'm a perfectly stable individual.
Calm down.
Wouldn't it be truly treasonous if the story of World War II wasn't even true? What if there's another story to World War II? Is it true, the story that we know? the version of events that we know. Hitler's just crazy and he lost his mind. I'm asking questions because in my world, I understood that victors write history. Winners write history. Winners are always the good guys. Loser was always the bad guy. Loser had no point of view at all.
Okay,
the winner had all the right thing, and they were doing all the right things. So I'm just asking you, if this war is what's shaping the modern world, and it is bringing on the ideology which is going to lead to the extinction of the white race, isn't it important we find out if the story we're told is even true? So let me apply this to modern time. But the Hitler story, the World War II story, is black-white, because that's how the winners want to write it. And that's how it always goes when the war's over. And
okay. No real response from who would be the adult in this room? Adam? No response for the. No real response from any of the quote adults unquote in the room. And this is the Tate contribution to society. What the hell? How is that pronounced? How do you say that? Society. This is a great Tate contribution to society. He's making the already difficult job of parenting way harder. I remember reading a story on some website about how teachers in the UK are like having to deal with these little kids. These little kids, these little tweens who now have a Tate attitude. They have to give them timeouts or whatever. But this is the effect, you know? You're a parent, you have all these weird charges on your credit card now. You come home from work and your kid waddles up to you. You know, he's doing like World War II revisionism. And you're like, okay, great. I have to deal with this because of the iPad. Thanks, Andrew Tate. I'm gonna be on the phone with MasterCard or whatever for the next 2 days. And I have to explain World War II now. Thank you.
Didn't 50 Cent sing that he was a pimp? Why is he not in jail? There's a video of 50 Cent on YouTube saying he's a PIMP. Is he locked up? No. Videos aren't real, right? So none of this stuff is real. It's just
that's a drop.
Videos aren't real.
They're not? Okay.
Show me the proof, dumbass.
How about a light topic? We've been too heavy. Let's talk Epstein a little bit.
Videos aren't real.
Speaking of the Mossad.
Oh my God.
And you could just have one person on a flight log. Videos aren't real. And the person who did the genuine crime will be ignored, lied by omission, and they'll just mention the one guy who caught a flight once. Videos aren't real. This is a consideration as professionals. You have to sit down and go, how can our enemy, it's chess.
Exactly.
I'm going to make this move to attack my enemy. How can he attack me after the move has been made? Videos aren't telling you that Pam and Cash, as professionals, are sitting there going, they're going to ignore 99.8% of this, and they're going to take that 0.2%.
Okay, this part's kind of stupid right here. They go into Epstein file stuff. Vinny loves this. This is Vinny's favorite thing. He's like, ooh, I'm Vinny. I'm Vinny, and
videos aren't real.
Vinny's really into this, you know, and Andrew Tate is like, you know, this is really a chess game. This is real politique crap. This is a chess game. I've been kind of watching this, and I don't know if this is a chess game. It seems like some other kind of game, maybe like Kirby or Roller Coaster Tycoon. What's another stupid game? They get that game where you're a goose, maybe? Because I watched this whole thing, and this lady came out, high up lady, and she's like, we got him. We got the documents we promised. Then they got all these Twitter weirdos to walk around the White House like, oh, we got them. And then they opened them and there's like nothing in there. So it's either like they're just straight up doing a joke on their fans. They're straight up.
She spit on them.
Ming on their fans. Or they were just like, yeah, we said we'd do this. I don't know. Do we have some papers around here? Put them in a binder or something. I don't know. What do you think we should do? I don't know. I have a really long CVS receipt. Yeah, put that in there. Put that in there and give one of those Twitter people one of these.
Boom.
And then give them one of these.
Well, there we go, guys. A beautiful another one.
A gorgeous another one where we look and we realize that
videos aren't real.
I hope you are doing beautifully. I hope you're doing your daily meditation where you say over and over again,
I'm a perfectly stable individual.
And I hope to your family and friends you are demanding that they
show me the proof, dumbass.
Talk to you next time. Bye-bye.
Ho, ho, ho! That was a great video right there. Would you not agree? I enjoyed the inciting incidents and the various challenges that the protagonist had to overcome. But if you want to overcome various challenges, subscribe on Patreon. Subscribe on Patreon. Subscribe on Patreon because you're missing episodes every single week. You're also missing the hours-long question and answer show, live streams, all various crap, show.
And they are basically actively trying to redefine anti-Semitism as being mean to Israel, okay? Saying that Israel is doing it, that is the only real anti-Semitism. And here are the Republicans, by the way. One day after Donald Trump said, we're bringing free speech back to the United States of America, cynically using anti-Semitism as a cudgel, which of course this community is probably very familiar with at this point. People who cynically smear those who criticize Israel as anti-Semitic, when many of the people that they're cynically smearing as anti-Semitic are simply just anti-Israel. They are very much against anti-Semitism as well. So let's take a look.
I caught myself a moment ago getting excited as well, but I'll remind the audience, as Chairman Grassley said, we need to conduct this hearing with decorum so that we can remain efficient. So I'd ask for your help and participation in that. And with that, I'll send it over to Senator Cruz.
Anti-Semitism is evil, it is wrong, and it is flourishing with the acquiescence and in many cases active participation of students, of faculty, of administrators, and government officials. And sadly, the Democrat Party has a deep and pervasive problem confronting this evil. For the last 2 years, in the wake of October 7th, this committee held 0 hearings on anti-Semitism in the United States, despite the fact that Republicans repeatedly called for it. The acts of violence prior to October 7th, 3,669 anti-Semitic incidents occurred in the United States. Following October 7th, in less than 3 months, that number spiked to over 5,000. In 2024, that number skyrocketed to 10,005 anti-Semitic incidents. This problem is particularly acute on our college campuses. Columbia University.
Eat a pile of dog shit. You notice, like, no one ever looks at, like, this argument and they're like, hey, the smart people, the educated people don't like this. Us idiots say, fuck you. Us uneducated people are like, no, you're wrong. Because we're fucking stupid. Fuck smart people. Readers, what you reading for?
Columbia University was a major epicenter where they encouraged, tolerated, and celebrated this vicious and vile anti-Semitism.
I got it. We're good.
Rabbi Eli Bueller emailed every Jewish student on campus and said, quote, the events of the last few days have made it clear that Columbia University's public safety cannot guarantee Jewish students' safety in the face of extreme anti-Semitism and anarchy. I would strongly recommend you return home. This is the rabbi at the university saying your school will not protect your safety. And Columbia didn't do a damn thing about it. And I'll tell you what, the rabbi wasn't crazy.
Give this fucking asshole an Oscar. Very convincing, bro. Acting like you honestly give a fuck about anti-Semitism. You don't give a flying fuck about that. You don't give a flying fuck about nothing. Fucking piece of shit. Ted Cruz, you fucking weird, guppy-looking bitch.
Easy. Here is one picture taken on the campus of Columbia. In the back are Jewish students waving American flags and Israeli flags. In the front is a Columbia student wearing a mask because these cowards are oh so brave they cover their faces.
Hey, show your face so we can arrest you promptly.
Why don't you cover your fucking ugly face?
How dare you?
Fucking
Christian Broadcast News Network, yeah. Current college protesters have nothing on the Vietnam college protesters. I know. Back during the civil rights struggle, people actively engaged in like campus takeovers. Samuel L. Jackson famously held hostage like the deans at Howard University alongside the Black Panther movement. Okay? One of the people that they held hostage was Martin Luther King Sr. Like these guys are getting mad at like random people posting edgy, okay, and inappropriate shit. Like Al-Qassam's next targets, like that's just entirely and completely inappropriate. Okay, it's just there's a reason why they can only point to like one thing, and it's also, I'm gonna be honest with you. It's also so inconsequential, so unimaginably inconsequential, okay? If you think that this is a broad representation of the protesters, the anti-protesters, you are a fucking rube, okay? You're a sucker. You're a mark. You are desperately looking for anything you can cling on to. And to be fair, first Lib Palestine take, no, I'm not a fucking idiot, okay? Half the time, people like this are unironically not even fucking real demonstrators. They go in to make it seem like these people are doing, ooh, scary anti-Semitism. You, on the other hand, think that this is appropriate. It's not. That is not an appropriate thing to fucking say. It's just not. And I said it at the time as well. In terms of like what the greater offense is here, obviously it's utterly inconsequential in the grand scheme of things. Like what, you think the state behaving in an incredibly violent way deliberately to arrest people for the crime of fucking protesting against a genocidal foreign nation that we are giving unlimited funds to? In terms of one or the other, this is nothing. It's nothing, and everybody knows it. Having said that, however, it still absolutely is completely inappropriate. That's it. I think it's fair to have self-critique for minuscule factions of the movement that resort to stuff like this. I will never dwell on it because it's a rounding error compared to white supremacists, but objectively is not good, and I don't have to defend it. Exactly, and I won't defend it either. I will not defend it, especially as someone who has actively been targeted over again with vicious smears of being called an anti-Semite and being called a radical pro-terrorism guy or whatever the fuck. I choose my words very carefully, and yet people still clip shit out of context and actively call me these vicious smears. Everyone needs to know. Every single person in the Western world, especially if you're in a college campus, you need to be extra careful. And the pro-Palestinian movement in this country has been extra careful. And I'm very proud of them. Okay? I'm very proud of their resilience. I'm very proud of the way that they've carried themselves. Shit like this is utterly inconsequential. And I think spending any time on this, whether you're defending it or whether you're like calling it out, is super unproductive and very stupid. And I've already spoken far too much about it because the reality of the matter is, like I said, you need to lock the in.
Holding a handwritten sign that says Al-Qassam's next targets. Al-Qassam is the military branch of Hamas. Understand what this student is saying. She is calling for the of her Jewish classmates. And by the way, this student, the internet being what it is, she's been identified now on the internet. This is not a Palestinian who's subject to oppression. This is a rich blonde girl from Atlanta whose parents are multimillionaire real estate developers, and they got so proud. I'm sending my child to an Ivy League education where she'll be indoctrinated to dress up and advocate Hamas Jewish students because they are Jews. Now, if you agree that is evil and vile, let me ask you something. Where are the Democrats? Not a one is here. And it's because the Democrat Party has decided the pro-Hamas wing of the party is more important than protecting Jewish students in America. And if you don't believe me, maybe you'll believe Chuck Schumer.
Oh my God. Yeah, Ted also went to Harvard, ironically enough, and is Canadian. Oh, how do they get off with being so deeply disingenuous? I mean, they're playing a role. That's the whole point. It's that anti-Semitism is out of control in this country, and to a certain degree it is. It's ironic that like most of the anti-Semitism, the overwhelming majority, still come from, you know, the reactionary right. And they are basically actively trying to redefine anti-Semitism as being mean to Israel, okay? Saying that Israel is doing a genocide. That is the only real anti-Semitism. And institutions like the Anti-Defamation League, also known as the Applied Defense League, have played a very significant role in this. These people do not care about actual anti-Semitism. Actual anti-Semites and their base of support is growing every single day. Ironically enough, there is wide, popular momentum around anti-Israel sentiment, and this is a reality that anti-Semites know. That's why they take advantage of this sentiment. They use Israel constantly, pairing itself up with Judaism falsely to say, see, this is how they are. And their ranks grow every single day, okay? That's it. That's it. They're the real anti-Semites, the actual anti-Semites, and their ranks grow every single day. This creates a dangerous predicament for Jews living in the Western world, okay? It does. But this is beneficial to Israel's interests because Israel wants as many Jewish people as possible to go and live in Israel, or at least be fearful, so that they think that the only way that they can be strong and have is a Jewish ethno-supremacist apartheid state that is currently conducting a genocide. That's it. Carl's take about your ban is very interesting. I don't know what he said. It is pretty funny that these dudes who actively pal up with it is fairly interesting that the dudes who actively pal up with like neo-Nazis and shit are turning around and being like, anti-Semitism is out of control. Prince Luke Money says, in over a year of watching, I've literally only ever heard you advocate for all people to be able to exist in peace, whether they be trans in America all the way to those in Gaza Strip. How can people call you an anti-Semite is beyond my comprehension. A lot of people react to pre-existing metas. They're too busy to do their own research. They're too busy to make up their own mind. And when you have like relatively famous, relatively notable bad faith actors that monetize these vicious smears, a lot of people genuinely do think, oh my God, you're making a convincing case. This person is probably a terrorist. I don't think that those people are all, I don't think those people are all genuinely convinced. Okay. I think they hear an argument. They don't know enough about the situation. They don't know enough about the history. And they've actively been primed into thinking like, well, you know, Muslim groups that go against like any sort of Western imperialist action, they're all bad guys. They're all scary. They're all terrorists. And they turn around and agree to perhaps the shittiest argument that anyone could ever make. It drives me nuts being someone who's hung out in here on a near daily basis for 5 years and having to hear my family members judge you off one or two clips. Totally fucking insane to me. Like, I don't know how to even react to it anymore. I mean, look, you and I both know, Megaphonics, that your family members do want to feel like they're right. This gives them the opportunity to feel that way. In a way, nice hat, unfollowed. Excuse me, I'm apolitical. I don't know why you've unfollowed me for my apolitical commentary. This is great for people like your family members who want to defend Israel, right? They want to defend Israel. And I make a very convincing argument not to defend Israel, to showcase how indefensible Israel's actions are. So in their minds, it's much easier to be like, oh, that's right, he's anti-Semitic, he hates it, he loves when Israeli people are killed, he hates Jews. Do you see what I'm saying? It would be much harder for them to recognize that this community is a safe space for Jewish people, and that I have actively combated anti-Semitism for years and years and years, right? But this way, by the way, one of them didn't know who you were at first, and they said, if Hassan Piker is a member of Jewish Voice for Peace, then they're against Israel. And I'm like, you are so clueless. Yeah. What's also incredible to me is that many American Jews are relatively progressive, right? No group is a monolith, but American Jews do vote for progressive values, and they are very progressive, with one notable exception, outside of obviously the anti-Zionist Jews. And I think a lot of American Jews don't understand that the allegiance that they seemingly think they have with nationalists, with all of these reactionary forces, is fickle. And in that process, they're also actively seemingly in the short term, they think that they are defending Israel by partnering Israel with Judaism and claiming that Israel's actions are representative of Judaism. They think that this is appropriate in the short term. They think this is a good defense mechanism in the short term. But in the long term, this unironically makes Jews less safe, especially considering that there is a tremendous amount of unexamined anti-Semitism already before October 7 in the Western world. What? This is a totally unhinged proof of one of your basement dwelling enemies sent claiming you said something horribly anti-Semitic. What is this? Jesus boy, you call people pig dog. What the fuck is, I don't even know. Hassan, look in the mirror. You're basically as bad as Destiny is, boy. You call people pig dog. What the fuck is, I don't even know what the fuck that's about.
You fucking baying pig. You fucking bloodthirsty, violent pig dog.
Okay. What is this? I don't understand. What is the proof? Like, what the fuck? Jesus so loud. Just Hassan Abi's greatest hits. Okay.
Pig dog a lot, but now I say fuck.
At least you look good in the clips. No, thank you. That's an old clip before October 7th, though. No, I don't think this is before October 7th. They're talking about declaring a war against Hamas.
Fuck hogs. Can all stand against the wall, please.
Wait, what the fuck? They edited
what a
this?
Fucking liar, dude.
What? Big Dog is anti-Semitic, apparently. Yeah. It's not. I thought it was like a capitalist pig dog is the term. You've talked about this before, and you didn't know about the anti-Semitic ties to that phrase, and people traced it back to its capitalist origins in like Asia or some shit.
How is pig dog anti-Semitic? Fuck off.
Okay.
I don't even eat pork.
Yeah, I was seeking out antiquated, ancient forms. Apparently, dog is a very communist insult. To be fair, yeah. You were screaming at a chatter, nothing new. How would you know where he is from? Yeah. What is this?
He didn't say
Sorry to be
dog.
annoying,
He
but when you
said
get a chance,
pig
please
dog.
watch the
This
student
is
animation
fucking
highlighting the struggles of
different.
Palestinians face, trying to reach a wide audience. Posted in the subreddit. Urban Dictionary doesn't mention it having anything to do with Judaism. Why are you always using the word pig like it's something bad all the time? Because it's a great way to fucking use as a pejorative, like you're a pig. Who pissed you off today? Why the hat? I'm showcasing my apolitical nature.
No, that's the wrong one. No, it's not. Chuck Schumer, texting with Colombia, said the following. On January 4th, then President of Colombia, Shafik, explained to Shipman and her fellow co-chair David Greenwald that she had met with Senate Majority.
Pig dog or Schweinehund is one of the most common insults used in German multimedia. That's it. They'll be like, this wasn't a slur, but I'm imagining that it is, and I've decided that you're saying it, and you're a bad person for saying it. I mean, sure, I won't use it any longer.
Keep using it, man. Fuck these fucking weirdos.
That's one of the funniest aspects of this, by the way. One of the funniest aspects of the Twitch is so inconsistent with banning. Twitch is so inconsistent with its bans, okay, is that Twitch literally gave Asmongold a 14-day ban for saying Palestinians are inferior culture that deserve to be genocided, and then unironically turned around and hit 4 content creators with a 30-day ban because they did a tier list where they said who has the Habibi pass, and they used Love's Sabra hummus as the bottom, as in your distance from being Arab coded. Okay? They got 30 fucking days. And everybody's like, dude, Hassan, he owns Twitch. Yeah, dude, that's right. I own Twitch so hard. At a certain point, you have to recognize how much these people are just disingenuous assholes. Yeah, the bottom tier of Love Sabra hummus is the equivalent of a bunch of black content creators doing a who has the N-word pass, which many black content creators on this platform have done before, jokingly, and then puts raisins in their potato salad as the bottom tier.
Nobody gets the N-word pass.
That's
I'm
the
sorry.
Analog. Imagine running around and being like, this here is the peak of anti-white racism. That's what Ethan Klein did. And he successfully got them banned, but it wasn't enough. It didn't satiate. I don't care if you think that's not in my power. It didn't quench his thirst. It didn't satiate his appetite for more deplatforming. So he had to fucking try and get me banned too, and it didn't work.
No one gets one.
and he just hasn't stopped crashing out against virtually every single person in his orbit.
Black people don't need an inward pass. No one else gets
It's like Italians putting Love's eating at Olive Garden at the bottom of an Italian tier list is a good example too. Exactly. It's just so ridiculous, dude. Why is everyone obsessed with you looking Arab? I don't know. I don't think I look Arab, but that's the other side of this story, which is that these guys will then invent things that I haven't said, and then they'll turn it into the meta. Like they'll turn that into like they'll turn it into something. They'll make it seem like I've said something that I haven't said, and then they'll make fun of me for their own personal invention. Or my favorite is always obviously whenever I make a joke, like very clearly make a joke, they'll be like, he meant this seriously. It becomes an urban legend like Settler Babies. Yeah, that's the meta. It's kind of Trumpian in the way that people operate. It's Trumpian in the sense that, like, if you lie long enough, then it becomes the truth. It's crazy.
Among Republicans. We, the Democrats, we don't care about this anti-Semitism stuff. Ms. Lewin?
This is so funny. Chuck Schumer saying anti-Semitism is almost entirely a Republican problem is Democrats sheltering their own from anti-Semitism.
Am I the only person that has noticed that these anti-Israel, pro-Hamas, anti-Semitic protests, that the tents all match?
It's so funny. Is that Ethan Klein? Or is that Republican Texas Senator Ted Cruz? I mean, he's probably... After all, Ethan Klein says he's pro-Palestine, but he says the exact same shit. It seems weird. It's like very hard to tell who's speaking right now.
No, you are not the only one to have noticed.
Is it clear that there is significant money funding these attacks on Jewish students and attacks on America?
It is clear that there is coordination and there must be some common funding.
In the last 2 years, under the Biden Justice Department, are you aware of any investigation to follow the money behind these protests?
I am not.
Are you aware of anyone who has been indicted for funding these protests?
I am not.
Are you aware of any university that has had their Title VI federal funds cut off because they've...
Wait, why? Okay, doesn't that undermine the point that they're trying to make, which is that it's not like a calculated... Wait, what? That this is not like a thing that Iran is funding? How are you gonna... How are you going to fucking prosecute something that didn't happen? There's nothing funnier to me than claiming that American institutes of higher learning are claiming that American universities are anti-Semitic is the funniest thing. Or even funnier, claiming that American college campuses are pro-Israel. You have to literally be the most delusional person on the planet, dude. No, they're just saying Biden allowed it. Under the Democratic Party's watchful gaze, blue states as well as red states arrested 3,100 college students on college campuses for demonstrating against the apartheid state of Israel. That is 3 times the number of arrests as opposed to January 6th. 3 times more arrests. And the entire purpose of that was to obviously have a chilling effect on demonstrations, which worked to a certain degree. It did. And I suspect that those numbers will rise under the Trump administration as well. I still hope in my heart, perhaps it's a silly hope to have, that these fucking stupid liberals will recognize that that is completely and utterly unacceptable and maybe join the cause when Trump is the one doing it. Just as they changed their minds about Black Lives Matter when Donald Trump came out against it. I'm not, I don't think it'll happen, but I really still hope that there are plenty of liberals who will. Are you not apolitical anymore? Yeah, I didn't want to keep wearing the fucking hat.
Tolerated, welcomed, celebrated, and as Senator Hawley put out, had their own officials cheering on anti-Semitism as even one university lost their funding.
I am not aware of any university having actually lost their fund.
And I'll point out also, some of the defenders say free speech, free speech. You're right. You have a free speech right as an American citizen to say vile, hateful, bigoted things. Let me ask you something. If a university student went into the public square dressed up in a Klan outfit...
This is so distant. This makes my... To say my blood is boiling, an understatement. It's goddamn molten lava. It is melting steel. Because what are they saying that's bigoted? They're saying, stop the genocide. And you are taking those words into your stupid fucking head and interpreting it as anti-Semitism, hatred, and racism. You disingenuous fools. You sleep soundly on the body of hundreds of thousands of dead Palestinians. You sleep soundly sucking your thumb because you're demons and ghouls. Categories. Yes, it's free Palestine. Destruction to the Zionist state. Give me some more. The mic's not picking it up. Too bad. It's really cute on my end. Yeah, Ted Cruz is scum. Pure scum. Doesn't get... People don't really get much scummier than people like Ted. Who's had every advantage. No worries. Just total freedom through his entire life. Got anything he would wanted. All the protections, all the social security, all the personal security, financial security. And you, despite all that, you still somehow end up a bloodthirsty piece of shit. Monster. A demon, a ghoul. These are the worst people that exist. There are people that have nothing. That have good hearts. That would never say anything as hateful and bigoted as and evil as the kind of shit that Ted Cruz says. All these assholes who are screaming anti-Semitism sleep soundly on piles of hundreds of thousands of dead Palestinians. Hundreds of thousands of dead Palestinian men, women, and children. You sleep soundly while they're screaming anti-Semitism. Sick. It doesn't get any sicker. Like we're at a point, like I don't believe in hell because these people are the demons. We're in hell. They really have to go hard though to like cover up the fact that they are justifying genocide, deaths, hundreds and thousands. I mean, you can't even like about it. How many people live in your hometown? 100,000 people live in your hometown? Maybe, maybe not. Imagine if they'd just gone. Not like some disease or some shit. They were bombed. Their homes were their homes, their workplaces, their schools, their hospitals annihilated. Wow. Anyone who's like, hey, that's not cool, and you smear them as anti-Semites. It's insane. It's fucked. And I really don't have the patience anymore to even like listen to it. This rhetoric is just like, it's brain poison. It's like drinking Drano. It's the intellectual version of drinking Drano. Kills your brain. Your brain dies. No longer serves the purpose that it was here for. It is no longer doing anything. It's supposed to be doing everything.
Burned a cross and said we should murder African American students. Do you have any doubt the university would expel that student?
I am fairly certain that the universities would take.
What?
So you're comparing saying you want to stop a genocide in Gaza to burning a cross black person's front yard. Make that make sense, dude. Like, for anyone to hear that and to be like, sounds good to me. Like, the level of just stupidity, moronicism, lack of education, everything is astronomical. It's absurd on its face. It's so sad. I mean, there's so much delicious, hilarious irony, and most people are too fucking stupid to understand what it is. It's the greatest human tragedy outside of all the death and destruction. The lack of understanding of the irony.
Wait, they've literally done that. What are you talking about? There are Klan demonstrations that the Trump administration defended. Ted Cruz has defended. Ted Cruz has unironically, on the basis of free speech, defended Nazis and fucking Klansmen doing demonstrations. Charlottesville, there are very fine people on both sides. Like, Trump said that shit. It was, you know, it happened in broad daylight. Those motherfuckers were saying Jews will not replace us. That's what they were marching. Richard Spencer was going to college campuses as an out and about open neo-Nazi. Hassan, the screaming kid from the Charlottesville rally, was a grad student at Columbia, and he was permitted to continue studying and graduate. Oh my God.
Take action and ensure that their policies
They should expel them if they're foreign students. They should be deported. And mark my words, if you are horrified at the anti-Semitism, you will see the Trump Department of Justice prosecute the people who are paying for this, prosecute those engaged in violence, and cut off the money from universities that are tolerating and celebrating this. That is the rule of law. And ask yourself, why did the Biden Justice Department do absolutely nothing about this horror that is unfolding?
Thank you, Senator Cruz.
Outrageous.
Senator Whitehouse.
Who's clapping?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you to all of the witnesses for being here. Let me say that I, too, am pleased that we're finally holding a hearing after years on this vitally important topic.
I can't. I just can't. I can't. I couldn't listen to Trump's speech. I can't listen to these fucking... they're just... It's just lies and brain poison. Like, to even humor them, to even listen to what they're saying and having to create an understanding. It's like, okay, let me... So when you create an understanding, you kind of put yourself there. But putting yourself where these people are, it's just... It just feels like it feels like an ocean of vomit. Just taking a dip.
Topic, particularly as these anti-Jewish, anti-Israel protests now erupt again on our college campuses, most of which, all of which, are getting massive amounts of federal funding. Mr. Rockland, is that how I see your name?
Fuck off. Republican, right wing, fucking scumbags. Literally, should be under the jail. Come back. Killing me, yo. Okay, this might be fun.
You didn't really spike Bert.
I did not. Yeah.
You did not really spike
No, we
Bert?
made that up. I thought that was already out.
You did, yeah. You already talked about it. But people don't believe you because you're a known liar.
Wait a minute.
That's the problem.
That's not true.
No, we just like
This is some like Santa shit to me.
Because dude, I bought it.
Wait, it wasn't
real?
You hung out and you're telling me how you spiked him. You lied to me?
Listen, buddy. Once I get a troll going, I lose myself in it.
You played it so all the way into our friendship, and I don't give a either way.
Yeah.
So you're just practicing lying on me.
No, I believe it. I'd pass a detector.
Ari Shaffir just went on Pink Trip's podcast and is now claiming he never dosed Bert. The same story he's been telling and laughing about for years is now suddenly fake. If you don't know who Pink Trip is, he built his audience by chopping up podcast clips to make conversations way funnier or way more dramatic than they actually were.
I love hurting people. It's just part of our DNA. To kill one another is just DNA, who we are. I will knock you out.
Oh, shit. This is about to happen.
Can I tell you something? I'm Mike Tyson.
He was huge about 4 to 6 years ago, but lately that format isn't pulling in the same numbers. So he's pivoted into comedy commentary and even started his own podcast, which Ari just appeared on. And as you saw in that first clip, Ari is straight up saying the entire thing was made up. We'll get back to that podcast in just a second, but first let's take a look at all the times Bert and everyone close to him, including his wife Leanne, talked about it like it was 100% real, and you can decide for yourself if the story is fake.
I just think anybody who comes into someone's house with their kids there and drugs an adult in charge has there's something wrong with that.
What do you mean? Totally normal.
The story everyone was told was Ari pulls up to Bert's house to do a podcast. He shakes Bert's daughter's hand and says hello to Leanne, all smiles like a normal, respectable house guest. Then, like a true gentleman, he fixes Bert a drink and casually drops in a little something special without Bert having a clue.
I mean, Bert could have had a heart attack. He could have had a stroke. That was pure Molly, and he's on blood pressure medication. He's 47 years old. And imagine if that had happened with Isla home, you know?
Right. Leanne starts getting suspicious, wondering why the podcast is taking so long, and also because Bert is acting weird, telling her and their daughter to stay inside. She even invites Ari to stay for dinner, but something feels off when Ari leaves without saying goodbye. What she doesn't know is that Bert had already told Ari, don't say anything to my wife or daughter, just go. So Ari dips, and Bert tells his wife what happened.
His pupils are like pinheads.
Bert tells Leanne he just needed her to be cool, no freaking out, no making a scene. He's got to hit the road for a show, and the last thing he wants is for his daughter to see him like this. Which honestly, I don't know why. If anything, I'd assume a dosed-up Bert is probably more bearable to be around. But Leanne does what she has to do and gets him out of the house. At this point, it really doesn't seem like Ari and Bert just made up the story. I mean, Ari's prank completely torched his relationship with Bert's wife. Why would you fake a story that makes you look that bad?
Is there anything Ari can do to repair your relationship?
Nope.
Nothing.
Nope.
You won't accept an apology?
Nope. Oh, I've gotten an apology from him before. It was not an apology, but he thinks it is.
This wasn't even the first time Ari had pissed off Leanne so bad she didn't want to forgive him. Before the whole dosing incident, Ari cracked a joke about Bert's daughter's teeth on an Instagram post. Not exactly top-tier roasting material, but it was enough for Leanne to tell Bert it was out of line. Bert made Ari call Leanne to apologize, but Ari's version of an apology is, you know it's a joke, right? Which is not an apology. Even in comedy, a dude's kid should be off limits. Still, Leanne let that one slide, but the dosing was different. That was something she genuinely thought she'd never be able to get past.
This drugging Bert, I don't know how to fix that. And if Bert decides to continue being friends with him, that's his decision, but I sure as hell don't understand it.
You're tapped out.
I don't ever want... He definitely can't come in my house again.
This whole sit down with Christina P. and Leanne only happened because Bert, Ari, Tom, and Joe had just talked about it a few days earlier on Sober October. That's when the story really blew up and hit the masses. This was the moment where we got to hear it straight from the people involved.
You slipped him on?
Yeah.
Dude, what are you doing? What are you doing? How much?
It's enough.
Interesting. How did you do it? Where was this?
It was at his house.
It was
at
my house in front
of
my children. Oh.
We had a shot before we started. I had to empty out a capsule and put it into a shot.
Are you out of your mind? Are you out of your mind?
Yeah.
At the time, Bert seemed genuinely upset, like really playing up the I can't believe this happened to me angle. Fast forward 4 years, and knowing Bert the way we do now, it's obvious he's just thrilled to be the center of attention. He's milking it, looking at Joe like, can you believe Ari did this to me? Eating up every second of it. Joe, of course, thinks it's hilarious. He's always gonna have Ari's back. Tom, not so much. Back then, he was still in the phase where he found Bert bearable. So he actually defends him, like it was some life or death situation. But let's be real. Bert does way worse to his own body daily.
If anything, Ari just saved him from an extra 2,000 calories that night.
Yeah, it was great.
No, it wasn't.
It was great.
It was not.
They're making me go on this stupid shit.
Yeah, Joe, what kind of sociopath are we friends with? He did it to punish me.
Because I have to be sober. You don't give up Molly. You're only giving up alcohol.
I don't do Molly because I just got back from the doctor and he said, hey, it's time to get healthy.
I agree.
And so, yeah.
I agree.
You don't think it's crazy that you would do that?
A bit. Yeah,
you're not doing it to like your college roommate. You're doing Did you even get the Molly tested? Like, where are you buying this Molly?
No. I've done it from my favorite Molly dealer. It's
and
great
you just
Molly.
spiked his drink?
Yeah, yeah.
High blood pressure, high cholesterol.
Emptied out 3. Guys, you're all talking
I would
about
want
what
to
ifs.
kill you.
Yeah,
I would want to kill you.
He wanted to for about 10 minutes until the Molly kicked in, and then he was fine. How fun was it?
Let's talk about the positives. It's Molly. I had to fly that night.
This is one of those moments where I actually start to think the whole thing might be made up. Bert claims he had just come back from the doctor who told him he needed to get healthy. But come on, it's been 5 years since this happened, and Bert's done absolutely nothing to improve his health. If anything, he's worse. His face embarrasses me when he looks at Joe and says, I have high blood pressure, high cholesterol. Like they're in the principal's office and Bert has to pretend like Ari did a bad. It's like, quit playing the victim. You're an addict. You know you had a good time. Ari probably did you a favor giving your liver a small break from alcohol for one night. Oh, but wait, Bert decided to drink on it because people who are afraid because they got dosed decide to smother it with Tito's.
I was on a plane going like, when's this going to stop? Because I didn't know that orange juice kicks it back up. So I'm drinking...
Orange juice kicks it back
vitamins
up?
C.
I don't know. You drink a lot of orange juice generally?
On the plane, I'm drinking, trying to get hydrated because I'm a Molly. And so I'm drinking Tito's and orange juice.
It's honestly insane that I'm even considering taking Ari's side on dosing someone. Maybe it's just that Tom and Bert have sunk so low in the past few years that they've somehow managed to make Ari look like a reasonable person. But man, they both just seem like complete tools. The only reason they are making it seem like a big deal is because of Leanne, because there's no way Bert is upset. That said, after looking back on all of this, I have to admit there is no way this was faked for a storyline or just so Bert could squeeze out more material beyond the machine story. Bert went on multiple podcasts confirming that Leanne still absolutely despises Ari. And if there's one thing we know for sure, it's that Leanne is not in on the bit.
She hates him in a way that not many people. She really hates him, like really hates him. And that was what bothered me about when he mollied me, was I was like, it's so funny. He wants me to release the podcast. I will never release a podcast. It does not make him look, it not only does it not make him look good, first of all, it's proof that he committed a crime. That's number one. And number two, it's just he's like, it's funny. And I go, it's not, because you see in my eyes a person who thinks I might die. And you can see that. And I see it clearly. But you also see like me realizing Ari just up our friendship. And I was like, that's what bothered me the most out of it is when it happened, I go, you just made it so my kids will hate you. And now my wife will hate you, and you can never come to my house, and I can never go on vacation with you because my wife will always go, don't go. I don't want you going.
Yeah. One of the best takes on this whole situation comes from Theo Vaughn. This old clip from King and the Sting perfectly encapsulates why Theo is now one of the biggest podcasters on the planet and why Bappa is just Bappa. Theo tells it like it is, and Bappa just parrots what he heard Bert and Leanne say on their podcast without any original thought.
I think that Bert likes any hype that he can get. I think he's okay with it in the end. I think it was a little risque in the beginning.
My problem is doing it around his family. If it was like on the road or something, that's whatever, because they're so close, he did it, that's whatever. The problem is there's no consequence. Like if Ari did that to me, you're gonna get your ass whooped.
Yeah.
Especially around my kids. There's gonna be repercussions. That's the problem. He knows Bert's not gonna do anything.
Yeah.
You do that to Rogan, there's gonna be repercussions.
Yeah.
You do that to Tom, there's probably gonna be repercussions. But Bert's so fun and playful that Bert,
and Bert does.
They're close though, so it's like they're like you would never do that to me.
Right. Yeah,
Ever.
that would be crazy.
You would never do that to me. But again, I don't know the relationship well enough. But you and me are close. You're one of my best friends. If you, Brian, or Rogan did that to me, dude, I'd have to put my hands on you.
Yeah.
Especially in front of my kids.
I would do it just to get beat. I'd do it just to get beat, probably.
Oh, there's easier ways to go about that, bro.
Just to feel something,
Theo is spot on. Bert craves any attention he can get. If this really bothered him, if he really loved Ari and was worried about exposing him for something so illegal, then he never would have brought it up. He would have let it die in the backyard with that podcast. But instead, he commercialized it. He took what should have been a serious moment and turned it into content. Podcast clips, tour material, headline bait. Bert milked it for everything it was worth. Because at the end of the day, day, as long as the conversation is about him, it really doesn't matter if it's good or bad.
How sick of talking about that are you?
No, I just started talking about it on stage.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I
so
just started talking about it.
Okay.
No one ever really brings it up.
Really?
Yeah.
Bert is a pathological liar. The whole no one ever brings it up thing is a total lie. This is one of the biggest Bert stories, second only to The Machine. It got talked about everywhere. It's actually Joke World's third ever video, and that started his ascension to where he is now. But honestly, I can kind of buy what Ari is saying now, that he never actually dosed him. Maybe he just slipped him some BC powder, and the real joke is that Bert placeboed himself into thinking he was tripping. It wouldn't be the first time Bert's brain convinced him of something ridiculous. Regardless, up until 10 days ago when Ari dropped this bombshell on Pink Trip's podcast, everyone thought this was real. So with that in mind, let's roll the full clip of Ari now claiming it was all made up.
You didn't really spike Bert.
I did not.
Yeah. You did not really spike
No, we
Bert?
made I thought that's already out. You did, yeah, you already talked about it. People don't believe you because you're a known liar.
Wait a minute. That's not true.
No, we just like...
This is some like Santa shit to me.
Because dude, I bought it.
Wait, it wasn't
real?
Hung out and you're telling me how you spiked him. You lied to me?
Listen, buddy, once I get a troll going, I lose myself in it.
Played it so all the way into our friendship, and I don't give a either way.
Yeah.
So you're just practicing lying on me.
No, I believe it. I pass a detector. I'm believing it when I'm saying it.
Oh my God, you're like, yeah, it's kind of like Renazizi.
Yeah, I'm a sociopath.
That's the way you have to do it.
Yeah,
I just like get into it. Yeah, we talked about it. And I was talking about how much he'd love it. And then he was like, and then we just like, we plotted that out. We recorded the podcast, we're playing it, we're like not, he goes, we just won't put it out. And that was a genius move on Bert's part. Because then people like, release the pod.
Even know what to think at this point. Ari openly admits he's a liar, but at the same time, I actually find him to be one of the most honest comedians out there, at least when it comes to telling the truth as he sees it. But then he goes and calls Bert a genius, and just like that, I'm back on the fence thinking, nope, totally made up, because there's no way a guy who tells the same story for 20 years is some kind of mastermind.
Yeah. There's no pod. It's just us talking about it.
That's wild, dude.
Yeah.
Wait, was Leanne not in on the bit? Was she not? Did she not know?
It's a while ago, so I'm trying to remember if it was like he just told her and then she got mad and then like let it go. No way. I think she must have been in on it.
I gotta give credit to Bert too, because Bert sold the fuck out of it as well.
He's a good actor.
I mean, he seemed really upset with Ari about it, and then he kept bringing it up, wouldn't let it go.
Wait, why did you finally admit that it was a bit? I don't even remember. I just remember you talking about it. I don't remember. It came up and it was like, I don't remember.
Yeah, now I think Ari was just trolling this podcast.
Give me that old-time religion!
We're losing Alpha.
And the only pushback that they offer is like, why can't we have Ronald Reagan? Donald Trump would have sold us off to Soviet Russia. Like, it's great. It's fantastic. Let's see where this roller coaster takes us at this point.
Losing A.
President Trump's speech to Congress was the longest in the modern era.
Yeah, I did see the stream that that Max did with Fred again, and it was amazing. That Deutsche song is crazy.
It was about an hour and 40 minutes long. So he celebrated his actions over the first 6 weeks of his new term, and he accused former President Biden of a long list of failures. Many Democrats walked out in protest during the speech, but a CBS News poll out just this morning shows that 76% of the people that we questioned approve of Trump's message. It should be noted here that the viewership of these speeches is higher among the president's party. Nancy Cordes is at the White House with more on the story. Nancy, good morning to you.
Yeah, I mean, we saw this as well. Like, my audience, straight up, my audience should have stopped watching. Like, they understandably got bored because it was a real yap fest, okay? Trump is gay. Grade A yapper. You already know this, just like I am. Takes one to know one. And oh my Lord, it was so freaking boring. No new stuff in it. Basically saying, we got BlackRock to purchase the Panama Canal. BlackRock, they're doing it.
Losing B.
Al Green was the high note, in my opinion, even though apparently a lot of people are very frustrated with him as well. They're saying that they're very frustrated. Yeah, I saw this. I reposted this, I thought. Did I not? This is an incredible meme. Anyway, yeah, people were complaining about Al Green's response. We're going to be talking about that in a second, though. He touted his tariffs, talked about his foreign policy, but barely talked about the Israel stuff. That was a brief side note, which I wonder why. Perhaps there's a reason. Perhaps the reason is because he knows that his base doesn't like that stuff either. So it wasn't just me. I checked the fuck out last night because Trump was so boring. My coworkers were saying shit he said was incredible. Yes, I think that we are getting dumber and dumber as a society, and I think that a consequence of that dumbification has made it so that, people just respond. That's why I like looking at what Asmongold's chat has to say about Trump, like what they consider, what they perceive as like a positive, a beneficial speech. And like their takeaway is just unironically, based, he's based. That's it. That's literally it. Nothing else. They just respond to shapes and colors. You're jiggling keys in front of their eyes, baby. That's all this is. They're like little babies. And it works. It works. The cultural decline, the educational decline, just the overarching regressive nature of American empire is in full display. Okay. Also, apparently, a Texas representative died after the speech, which is crazy. Democratic House Representative Sylvester Turner from Texas died last night at age 70. His last words to his constituents were, "Don't mess with Medicaid."
My guest tonight for the State of the Union, Angela Steele. I'm taking portion of Medicare. I'm Angela from you.
I just don't understand it because it's like. I don't understand it because pride in comparison to the rest of the caucus,
Securing District 18. My daughter is Daisy Garcia. She's 2 years old. She has a rare genetic disorder, chromosome 18.
Yeah. Also, the sad irony here is that he quite literally replaced a 74-year-old who died in office. Like he replaced a 74-year-old who died in office before him. And then now he died in office as well.
A lot of developmental and medical challenges. So losing Medicaid is devastating to us. So please let people know, don't mess with Medicaid. This is Angela.
He used to be the mayor of Houston and wore anime costumes in the local geek conferences. He had terminal cancer. Well, R.I.P. Sad state of affairs. All right.
Gail, good morning to you. It was a boisterous night. The address had a lot of the hallmarks of a Trump campaign speech. It was combative at times without any of the overtures to the other side that you might typically see in a joint address to Congress. Democrats, it has to be said, engaged in some theatrics, too. Another departure from the norm and a sign that no one has high hopes for bipartisanship in the 4 years ahead.
America is back.
Who has hopes of bipartisanship?
A self-assured President Trump declared the first month of his...
Anyone has ever in their life since the beginning of time has had faith in quote-unquote bipartisanship or brain dead. If you believe, and especially if you believe that bullshit now. Because political parties shouldn't be able to be bipartisan. That implies that, like, they have the same interests, ultimately. But the left and the right do not ultimately have the same interests. They have opposite interests. The left wants the public to own the means of production and to create a equitable world. The capitalists want wealth disparity and they want to crush the poor into pudding. That's the diff. That's the diff.
Second term, the most successful in history.
Do you know who number 2?
It's crazy to me that all you got to do is just be confident and just talk shit up there, lie a bunch. Ain't nobody's going to check you. No pushback whatsoever from the Democrats in general. Okay. And the only pushback that they offer is like, why can't we have Ronald Reagan? Donald Trump would have sold us off to Soviet Russia. Like, It's great. It's fantastic. Let's see where this roller coaster takes us at this point, I guess. Just buckle in, strap on, and you know, it is what it is.
Who is George Washington? How about that?
He walked the nation through some of his most aggressive moves.
I withdrew from the unfair Paris Climate Accord. I imposed an immediate freeze on all federal hiring. I signed an order making English the official language of the United States of America.
As Trump ticked off the highlights, some ticked-off Democrats held up signs that said false. And some of his claims were false, including this one.
I terminated the ridiculous Green New scam.
That policy doesn't exist.
We ended the last administration's
You're lucky
insane
if the Republicans can even read.
electric
Your signs are
vehicle
useless.
mandate.
That policy also doesn't exist.
Joe Biden, the worst president in American history.
In a departure from tradition, Trump repeatedly slammed his predecessor.
Joe Biden especially let the price of eggs get out of control.
Yeah, it's Brandon. It's not the avian flu that your administration seemingly is perhaps the worst administration to deal with any sort of disease, but it's actually Brandon. He sabotaged the eggs, dude. Amazing. Fantastic. Wonderful state of affairs overall. I just don't think that people buy this. Do people buy this? I don't think they care. I think eventually they're going to be like, yeah, I don't care, man. Just fix it. That's it.
Oh.
Many Democrats walked out.
The chair now directs the sergeant at arms to restore order.
Your uncle is repeating this? Yeah, that's the least surprising thing. There is something in the mind of uncles, okay? That's just uncle mindset. If we're being real, that is like, that your uncle has been struck by unk mindset, okay? Unk mindset dictates that you, at any given moment, if he says something, you have to agree with him, okay? Because why else would the president say something? That's just uncle mind virus, okay? Classic.
Green of Texas had to be escorted out because he wouldn't stop shouting about possible cuts to Medicaid. Billionaire Elon Musk drew jeers and cheers when President Trump plugged the massive cuts Musk and the Department of Government Efficiency have been making to the federal workforce.
The days of rule by unelected bureaucrats are over.
The president also touted new tariffs on Canada, Mexico, and China, but admitted there may be some short-term pain.
Tariffs are about making America rich again, and there'll be a little disturbance, but we're okay with that.
And he vowed there are more tariffs to come.
April 2nd, reciprocal tariffs kick in, and whatever they tariff us, other countries, we will tariff them.
In a surprise announcement, Trump celebrated the arrest of Mohammed Sharifullah, one of the alleged masterminds behind the Abbey Gate bombing in Afghanistan that killed 13 U.S. service members.
And he is right now on his way here to face the swift sword of America.
One of the easiest ways that people could have actively disparaged the argument that like Brandon killed 13 of our best soldiers, like 13 of our best soldiers died because of Brandon's like withdrawal from Afghanistan, was the simple fact that under the Trump administration, 67 service members died in Afghanistan over the course of the 4 years that he was president because he did not demonstrate the bravery of actually withdrawing troops from Afghanistan. 67, okay? In comparison to 13, not a single troop should die, but obviously, you know, numbers on the board, one is worse than the other. So how is Mr. I'm ending all wars constantly harping on this, constantly talking about this over and over and over again, being like, oh, Brandon killed our best soldiers. Brandon killed our best soldiers. Brandon killed our best soldiers. Like, Lil Bear, thank you for the raid. Hope you had a good stream. But I still fault the Democrats for this, by the way. Yes, I fault the Democrats for being pushovers and not even being able to actively communicate a vision for why they're doing, actively communicate counter counter examples against the endless faucet of misinformation and a barrage of hatred coming from the Republican Party. So yes, I truly, truly believe that this is another part of the problem is Democratic Party incompetence that has gotten us here. It's definitely something to remember and something to remind people. This is why I get mad when I say, I hate liberals. This is why I say, I hate liberals over and over again. Some people get confused with, like, especially if there's like a clip compilation where you put me yelling at liberals. Yes, I hate liberals for being feckless pushovers, okay? I hate liberals for not actively combating the faucet of misinformation coming from the right. That's it. I hate liberals when they behave like spineless cowards. I hate liberals when they turn around and capitulate to right-wing framing on issues. I want liberals to fight, okay? That's it. And you're basically watching what happens when they completely give up, right? You're watching what happens when liberals completely give up. This is the process. That's why I like Al Green. What he did last night was brave, okay? What he did last night was correct. And I think more Democratic Party representatives should behave in that way. That's what I think. That's what I believe. So yeah, even if I don't completely agree,
hello, how's it going? Uh-oh. Oh. Oh, God. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, God, no. Nah. Doing all right. Yeah, I had a busy day, kind of, for me. No, it's just a lot of, I was cleaning the van some more because it's getting closer. My Jiffy Lube manager guy who's near me wants to buy Claude's van. And so I was kind of prepping it. I needed to take pictures of it and clean it up a little bit more. So I did that. I'm trying to still sell Claude's guns, so I cleaned up a bunch of his guns because they were pretty gross. And I was like, one I took out to the range like a couple weeks ago, and when I was shooting it, it wouldn't cycle. You know, it's like it was an automatic like Luger, like an old it wasn't a World War II pistol. It was like a reproduction of one of those. But anyway, so it was probably from like the 70s or 60s. But anyway, it's pretty fucking old. And it wasn't cycling, so you could get one shot off, and instead of automatically loading the next round, it would not load it correctly, you know, jam or whatever. Yeah, pretty much, yeah. So I was like, fuck, well, I gotta clean it. Yeah, and I thought, well, I just figured, well, maybe I'll clean it. Maybe that'll do it. And so I cleaned up like these 4 guns that I want. They're all handguns that I want to sell. And I took them to the range today, and 3 out of the 4 still had a problem. It's like, God damn it. Yeah. So, but I don't care. I mean, in a way, yeah. I think, I mean, definitely during the last 10 or 20 years of his life, he probably never went to the range, as far as I know. I think so. Yeah. So, you know, I wanted to like keep one of them anyway, but I'm down to the last, I think, 4 pistols, and well, as of this point, it's going to be probably the one that's functional. It's a Springfield 1911. It's also a reproduction of a World War II pistol. It's a 45. It's a fucking beast. Yeah, it is, and it was working, and I was hitting the target with it, so I was like, well, at least that one works. You know, that I just was hoping the other ones were going to be functional, so then I could like kind of pick the one that's my favorite. But I was like, shit, these other three aren't really fucking cycling. It's probably, like you said, it's probably something that's fixable, but I'm not gonna bother to do it. I'm just gonna see what I can get for them, and probably just dump them. You know, they're not like antiques. Anyway, that's a long story. Kind of fun. I'm definitely learning about taking apart guns and putting them back together on YouTube. God, some of these guns are so weird. So bizarre. And it's like the minds that came up with how to make these things, it's pretty incredible. Everything is compact and interdependent, and there's no fat, you know what I mean? They're like a watch. Right. Exactly. It's kind of a marvel of engineering. Not that I'm a student of it or anything, but definitely have an appreciation for it, you know. I'm like, wow. Yeah. Oh yeah. USA. Oh God. Mm. Mm-hmm. Mm. Mm-hmm. Oh, right. Yeah. Totally. Yeah. Oh, it was sick to watch. I mean, if you want to jump us into a match, you can go ahead. I'm ready to go. Yeah, I'm gonna bring in $2,000 so I can get us some plates. Yeah, just watching you're low on cash. Yeah, don't bring in anything then. Watching JD Vance and Mike Johnson like smirking about like the 110-year-old people on Social Security and stuff. Dude, it was just like is so fucked up. It's like, ha, let's make it into a joke. Ha ha ha. Yeah. Hmm. Ugh. Ugh. I know, man. Yeah. It's you're breaking up here. Hmm.
Welcome to Al Mazrah. Explore, secure
Yeah.
intel, and loot to gain access to new missions.
Right.
Enemy threat is high, so expect contact.
Let's get some cover and then look at a map because we're way out in the open here. Get back here, maybe. All right, that's good. Yeah. Yeah, no, it's yeah. Well, we got Nextville not far. We do have a shop nearby. Yeah, oops, that was close.
Stay firm.
Maybe he'll.
Buy station. Copy. Buy station.
Maybe he'll show up. No.
Moving here.
No, the weapons case is down here.
Contract marked.
But that's not a place where he spawns though. No. Yeah.
Ultra One, enemy threat is moderate near your location.
No, you're. Whoa, 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 whoa. That didn't take long. Well, here, you killed these guys. Go get the loot. Belongs to you. I was standing there, like, licking my wounds. Garbage. Oh, guy. Sorry, I just walked into a room. Yeah, there was, just walked in this. Yeah, why don't you come in here for a second? Let's loot. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Okay. There's a guy at the doorway. Beware.
Tossing grenade. Take it.
Yeah, it seems like this might be good. Oh, guy. There's to the side. I killed him. Yeah, I killed him. Alright, you want to go? You need to plate up. Plate up.
Taking effective fire.
Let's get inside, man. I need a. Oh shit. Yeah, let's push the shop because we're out of plates. At least I am almost out of plates.
You've got hostile reinforcements incoming.
Fuck. I'm okay on ammo. Okay, got a ton of plates. Oops. Alright, let me give you some plates. Hang on. This is safe. Okay, grab them. You got 7 or 15. At least this place has got a lot of money around it.
Ultra One, an operator is near your location and requesting medical.
Alright, yeah, there's a helicopter dropping people off. Here they come. I don't... Yeah, let's... Alright.
Grenade! Move! Fire!
Alright. Oh, Jesus. Run towards the exfil.
Taking effective fire!
Oh god, alright, alright, I'm gonna try to come to you. Dang it.
Ultra One, be advised, enemy attack helo is
Here.
on the way.
Bastard, you'll make it. Visual on an X-ray spotted.
Jesus. Fuck. Let's get out of here. Go to the exfil. Can you get up here? Oh, it's because I equipped some different missions, and I did the this one with the gun. Yeah, I got.
Fire! Moving! Enemy movement here.
Fuck me! Ooh, fuck you! I'm almost there. Here.
Good.
You already did it.
Taking rounds.
There's a guy right here.
Ultra One, be advised, an operator in your area needs medical.
I've got 10. I've got 10. Jesus. Excuse me. Oh, got it.
Taking fire!
Yeah. Once we get to a safe place, let's look at the map real quick. You want to look at them? I was just going to see if, you know, if the weapons case showed. Here, let's hide here for a second. I want to look at the map. see if there's any change of anything. Nah. Yeah, fuck that. Let's just go. Let's just go. Oh, there's a rope. Good.
Moving here.
Oh, okay. Where's yours?
Be advised, threat level is high in this AO. Expect contact.
I think there's another one over here. There's one right here. Oh, this looks good. Famous last words. Yeah.
Ultra One, extraction is inbound at this time.
Ultra One, this is Dino 4. We're moving to the LZ for extraction now.
Yeah.
Ultra One, Dino 4. We're approaching the LZ. Get it secure.
Hey, plate up for you just in case. Never knew.
Dino 4 is at the extract point. Be advised, we can't stay here long.
Great.
All Ultras Oscar. Dino 4 is RTB.
Okay, back. Yeah, I noticed like I needed some shadow company wins or whatever you want to call them to move on with my passive mission or whatever. So I added some shadow company stuff. So that's cool. So actually, that's interesting because we used to think that we had to match our missions to take credit.
I'll have to look. I mean, yeah, because I guess that makes sense that like if it's popping up on my screen, that might mean that I'm getting that too.
Let me make sure that I actually did get something.
I was definitely I did have something popping up, and it was mission related for sure.
All right, let me look.
So I'm streaming right now, but unfortunately, like my microphone was muted through the entire match. I just turned it on when we get on the chopper. So it's if you look at the video that I'm if you look at the VOD, it's you, yeah, and my mouth moving but no sound coming out.
That's funny.
Shit. Well, it's 8. I don't know if you got time for another.
I do.
Let's do
yeah.
Unless, like, wait, do you have multiplayer shit to do? Because I actually have, I think I still need a couple. But if you,
yeah, unless
you want to go DMZ again, I will. It's you, please. It's your call.
Only because we hardly ever do it. But
let's do it. Okay,
we're
going in, dude. Going in. Let me get this set up. This away. I'm gonna bring a little bit of money. Oh, because my wallet's got 75 hundo right now. Take it. Bring a couple thousand. Bringing in my badass Icarus. I'm ready to rock whenever you are.
1 second. There we go.
But
okay. Okay.
Do it. We're matchmaking. We're going in.
Yeah, what I have equipped on my thing is kill 7 enemies with the MCPR 300 with the thermal sight equipped. So I did that, and I got 2 of 7.
Wait, are you talking about like Op6 multiplayer?
A mission.
Oh, mission. Oh, okay. Oh, you're talking DMZ mission.
Yeah, sorry.
No, that's okay.
No. Yeah.
Those are kind of nice missions. Most of these missions I'm seeing are like, I've still got the investigate the chemical plant, extract from the Koshi complex, revive a downed enemy for some reason.
Those, because we're never doing those. We have to do that. Like, I know. I may have had a chance to do that once, and that's you got to have the fucking thing on you. And, oh man,
I feel like you have to do like one thing at a time.
If them anyway, they're just gonna kill you probably.
Yeah.
The fucking point of doing that?
If they're, why would you and revive with like a? I haven't even used a revive pistol on you. I have no idea how it works.
It's a whatever. It's where you have to hit the double.
Yeah, it's a field upgrade
to get it. Yeah, field upgrade. Yeah.
Welcome to Al Mazrah.
But again, I have not been doing homework. But I think like getting pretty close to only like 5 dark spines away. Dark matter. So I'm rapidly approaching.
All right.
I can't. All right. Sorry. I'm.
Cool. No, that's fine. We're near a shop, but we're also super near an exfil.
Yeah, that's true. Let's hit the shop. Let's get some trouble. Let's see. I mean, because if there's enemies all over, but I say we go get some plates.
I don't see.
Maybe we can trouble. If things get out. Didn't take long. Shots. Oh, we got guys on our left too. Oh, there it goes. 2 down. We got a 3rd. God damn it. I don't think he's armored up. I'm really... Oh god. Did you get him?
He's dead. I got him. Yeah, I got him.
Ooh, stronghold key.
Yeah.
Drop him. That's kind of nice. Did I get that key?
Need some cash.
Sorry, no, I don't need it. I'll kind of attack. We're pretty close to the shop. You wanna check it out?
All right.
I'm on the shop at the moment. If you want to cover me. Spend all my money on plates. Got 13. I will cover you. Oh, there's a stronghold right over here. I think. I do have a key. Don't silly. Actually, we haven't looked at the map to see if there's a weapon key. Alright, that's our recovery.
I glanced at it, and it looked like it was on a train.
You want to steal this
now I know
plate?
where it is. What's
You
that?
want to steal that plate?
Oh, okay. Actually, I'm all filled up,
Okay,
so
let me
I'm
see
good.
if I can.
Yeah.
Oh, I am absolutely filled up as well. I would have to drop my stronghold. I'm not gonna do that.
Nah, don't do that.
Okay, all right. You wanna?
So should we hang around the exfil and just kind of loot and shit?
You want to be ready?
Check around.
Probably ready and try to take out people trying to exfil. Take all their loot like assholes. And we
would be, yeah, and if they had like plates, vests or whatever, that'd be good.
We can just kind of hang out. Like, yeah, I mean, let's. Are you in the gas station right now?
I'm right below you.
Okay. Wait, I'm on top.
There's
of
a lot of crap in here. So a lot of junk in
hostile
here.
squad securing a stronghold. Okay, well.
At least some junk. Scuba mask.
That'll rage. That'll rage self-revive.
Yeah, I guess it's not so great. Okay, whatever. I'll follow you.
Wait, let me, where's the weapon case, if anywhere? Well, wait, oh, it's on the train. It is.
Got a vehicle here.
The old train. Well, I mean, there's a lot of buildings and shit around here. You just want to go, want to go see, find some money, some
to be exfilling.
It's a little early. Yeah, we still got over 20 minutes. Maybe we can find some cash. Oh, wait, RPG. Hey, we got enemy rockets somewhere. My guy just yelled RPG to cover. I did not personally see it.
Ultra One, you've got hostile reinforcements incoming.
Where? I'm getting. I'm hitting over here.
Moving.
Ooh, very strict. Like that. Dude, we are just thick with. I've got more plates than I know what to do with. We need to fight so I can use these plates. I've got a glut.
Yeah, this is Plate City.
Yeah, dude.
Here.
Alright. Well, I mean... Alright, I say yeah, let's just keep looking at if there's anything in these buildings here surrounding the exfil. If you see anyone coming or hear anyone come in, we'll try to take them out, but... If we start getting bored or want to get out of here, we can just grab this exfil. Yeah.
Okie. Swanky building.
Oh, and I got it. I bought it.
Visual on an enemy fighter.
Oh, you saw me. I think you did. You might not have actually. I got it. He's right in front of you. Marked him. Him again.
Enemy fighter.
Try to sneak up on him. Trying to take him out.
Do I have a silencer on? I think I might be able to. Okay, he's done. I don't do that.
It's kind of funny when ooh, a player. You see that?
Oh, where?
There's a guy parachuted right in front of you. He's in this tan building
Oh
here.
shit! Should we hang out outside?
I think he landed.
Should we wait for him to come out?
I'm going up on the roof.
Okay, I'll come with you. All right, I'm right behind you on the ladder.
Oh, there's a fucking bomb.
Oh,
off the top of that
okay,
fucking
yeah, let's
thing.
get out of here. Maybe they might be camping.
Almost fucking. Yeah.
Is there another way up?
Probably.
There are stairs here.
Yeah, be careful.
Yeah. I'm looking for. Yeah.
Ultra One, an operator is requesting medical
Oh, I
near
think the
your
guy on the
location.
roof here just got taken out. Yeah, he's real. Oh wait, I got players on me. It's a team. I took out two. I'm down. Oh shit! God damn it, dude. There's a guy. I took out two of them. One of them was down.
I'm down.
Oh, did he get you?
Yeah, he was behind. I didn't see him. He came around behind me.
Yeah, that was a full
Totally
team.
fucking.
That was a full team. That was 4 people. Oh wait, I think I'm getting revived.
Damn.
No, we're not. Let me get out of here. All right. Are you with me?
Jeez. Yeah.
Hey, no, that was shit. Whatever. They had a good spot. They were basically kind of thinking like the same way we were.
Yeah.
They were like they had a really good overwatch over the exfil.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're probably doing the same thing we did, but the only problem is they had twice the amount of people. We had no chance. We need to build.
A little rough.
I mean, I'm really bad at like trying to make friends or meet people via video game to like play with and shit. But like when the next DMZ comes out, like, do you think we should like try to get like a team, like a full, like a stack of like, you know, and we like that we would play certain days of the week and have a full team so we can maximize our time inside DMZ.
Yeah.
I don't know how you feel
maybe.
about that.
Depends,
Bringing in strangers, possibly children.
Yeah, I mean, like, no, that's the thing. Yeah, like I was just gonna say, like I wouldn't really feel comfortable doing it with like kids.
Yeah,
even though they'd probably be better than we would be.
Or,
but
I mean,
that would just feel
weird.
weird.
It would just be weird. I mean, as far as like, I mean, trying to talk politics or like, you know, anything like that, it would be weird to have a kid around, for sure.
Yeah.
But whatever. It could be all business. If there's a kid that's completely cracked and is the best DMZ player ever, we should probably get him on our team, and we'll just we'll just
ride his coattails.
We'll work around it, and we'll just deal with the awkwardness, and we will go straight to the top of the DMZ leaderboards.
We're riding your coattails to victory.
Right. And hey, if we got a little prodigy who's really good, I say bring up mine. But you know, whatever.
All right,
we're talking about
convinced me.
We're talking about non-existent people that only exist in the brain. So we'll figure it out when we get there.
All right, sounds good.
Well, hey, decent games. I still had
right.
fun. Love DMZ. Good times.
Yeah, no, always. All right, we're learning.
We'll get, dude. I think DMZ 2 is where we're going to shine. I think we're going to dominate.
Nope, you cut off. I didn't hear
and I'm going to make sure I document it and it's all on video, and we are going to destroy.
You were cutting out there.
Oh, I'm just saying we're just gonna kick ass at DMZ.
Oh, absolutely. El Mazra times 2.
Oh, El Mazra
no
double 2. All right. Well, hey, have a good evening. It is Wednesday, right?
All right. Yes.
Tomorrow wine night. You guys got anything going on?
Yeah. Nothing crazy. Just
crazy.
Some TV later. Try some television later.
All right. Well, if you got time to throw down, you know, hit me up. You know what to do.
All right, we'll do.
Excellent. All right, I will talk.
Have a good night, man.
To you. Talk to you soon.
All right. See ya.
All right, team. We're gonna keep going. I got more in me. We're gonna keep watching Trump speeches and going fucking silly. But I gotta finish my dailies. Funny. But I'm gonna go to the bathroom real quick. I will be right back. And we are back. That I have cans everywhere. This one's getting way too close to being empty, but that's cool though. Me too. I need to hit a wall eventually, but I feel like as far as my relationship with drugs and alcohol, I've never met a wall. And if I did, I ran through it like it wasn't even there. My mutant superpower. Drugs and alcohol make me function better than not being on drugs. I hate to say it, but it's true. When I'm not drunk and high, I'm miserable and barely functional. When I am, I feel pretty goofy, and things don't seem so disastrous, and I can do stuff. I get stuff done. Not thinking about how horrible existence is and the existential suffering of aging, sickness, and death, and loss. When I'm not drunk or high, I'm thinking about that shit, which is unwise, according to Buddhist masters, to the enlightened Buddhist monks. It's an unwise attention to the negative, unwise attention to things outside of your control. But it doesn't change the way it hits. You know what I mean? You can say all you want about emotions, but emotions always hit. It's just how you deal with them, how you behave in the midst of intense emotions. At least in my case, my emotions are always usually pretty fucking pedal to the metal. I got some noodles cooking, Jack. Delicious noodles. They're not cooking yet. My water's boiling. But we got to get a couple more score streak kills here. 2 exactly, literally a couple. I'm just kind of let's go back to the let's go back to watching Hassan the Hun, Sanabi, King Kami. What he's got to say about Trump's speech. With peace and love, peace and love. Nothing but peace and love. Fuck Ethan Klein. I used to think you were funny. My heart. You broke my heart. Became a Zionist fucking piece of shit and I hate fuck. You start calling everyone anti-Semitic because they don't want to see fucking kids get fucking bombed. I was a Hassan fan before, but Ethan made me like the biggest Hassan fan. And maybe a Bad Empanada fan. Should I put some Bad Empanada? I might. I'll watch this for a bit, but Bad Empanada is I'm honestly like at the moment. He's having a moment. And I'm riding with him. Or whatever their pronouns are. I'm assuming just him. I'm sure he's not. But maybe I shouldn't. I shouldn't assume shit. Shouldn't assume shit. Smoochies, kisses, love you.
With everything that a politician is saying and doing, I will show them support if they're doing the right things, if they're moving in the right direction. One of your most effective messages on this is, I hate liberals because they don't hate Republicans enough. Exactly. I get mad at liberals for their closeness to the reactionary sentiment and the Republican policy. There should be more proximity between the two parties. And yet there is always room for bipartisan compromise. Not even on the virtues of the good side of the legislative agenda, but bipartisan compromise simply on the virtue of compromise alone, you know? It's ridiculous.
American justice.
On foreign policy, he vowed to seek peace in Ukraine.
Earlier today, I should have said less proximity. I'm sorry. Did I say more proximity? I should have said less proximity. Apologies. I am, my brain is fried already.
I received an important letter from President Zelensky of Ukraine regarding the agreement on minerals and security. Ukraine is ready to sign it at any time.
He said he also plans to retake the Panama Canal.
We didn't give it to China. We gave it to Panama, and we're taking it back.
And he somehow plans to acquire Greenland.
One way or the other, we're going to get it.
Clocking in at an hour and 40 minutes, it was the longest presidential address to Congress in recent history. And it ended with this.
My fellow Americans, get ready for an incredible future, because the golden age of America has only just begun.
Democratic Senator Alyssa Slotkin from Michigan delivered a much shorter 10-minute response to President Trump's speech that painted a very different picture.
FYI, everything that comes out of Trump's mouth is fucking bullshit. We're entering a golden era. You know where he was getting that? Like, it is lit. You can't say literally, figuratively. He is like just reaching. He's taking his hand and just going back here, and just sticking the whole fist up the rectum, and just, you know, feeling around in there, and then finding that sentiment that he just said, that we're entering a golden age, right up in there in the colon, wherever, just pulling it out. It's like, here you go. Here's your golden age. This is where I got this idea. I literally pulled it out of my butthole. And guess what? No surprise. It stinks.
Picture criticizing his first 6 weeks in office as taking a reckless and chaotic approach.
Yeah. So the joint congressional speech, the joint session of Congress, and Trump's address was basically a rally. It was a political rally. We've heard it a million times over. Everything that Trump touches turns into a political rally in the exact same ways. And this was no different. I thought that in the process, there would be at least some new information that he revealed, but it turns out there was none. There was just more props. Trump loves using props. He loves using victims to draw a broad, oftentimes very reactionary, very racist concept, a very racist picture for Americans to understand. And it works. It's very effective. It is, of course, a distraction, but that is what Trump is very good at. He knows that people are angry. He knows that people are resentful. He knows that people hate the government because the government hasn't done right by them for multiple decades, right? And there's no confidence in the federal government. So he turns around and uses that anger, that resentment, hyper focuses people's anger and resentment into, redirects that into other vectors of pressure. It's not a Honduran or Guatemalan migrant that is your landlord or your boss at your shit job that you hate. Okay? They are not sitting atop the board of executives at BlackRock. They're not the ones that are halting development so that there is no more additional available housing units that normalize the housing market in your city. It's not trans people that are responsible for your layoffs. And the Trump administration, and Trump specifically, is very good at moving your attention away from the people who do actually ruin your lives and back to vulnerable populations, your neighbors who have the same exact interest as you do. And that's precisely what he did last night, over and over and over again. And I think if the Democrats don't figure this out and actively communicate in the exact same way that I'm talking about these issues, I don't think Americans are going to recognize in their sea of resentment as conditions worsen instead of getting better under the Trump administration. Americans are not going to be able to recognize this reality and get belligerent, more and more violent, and demand even worse, more violent punishments for these populations. It's that simple. I think exposing this underlying hypocrisy and exposing the true nature of the Republican Party, and specifically Donald Trump, is very important. And I wish that Democrats would do something, anything really. Except Democrats chose CIA agent, former Republican, Elisa Slotkin from Michigan, who is a Zionist herself, to speak as the official response to the Trump address. And I watched it live last night, and I was very frustrated by the way that she communicated last night. There's also Jasmine Crockett, who I'm getting increasingly more annoyed with. But I don't want to say too much about it. Let's take a look.
I'm gonna get it on the floor. You really about to do it? 40 acres in the mule. This is bigger than the music. You really about to do it? Yeah, they tried to rig the game, but you can't fake influence. They get on it like that. Hey, I'm tripping, I'm sliding, I'm riding through the back like buck. Must have on a beat, bro, deep boat, any rap. He a freak though, man down, front of Amber Lambs. Tell him breathe. Let them boys to the cross, they walk around like these. What's up with these?
I think this is so cringe, but apparently libs are eating this up. Kamala AOC Crockett 2028. Julia Fox, this is so important to me. America needs you, Jasmine Crockett. Do not stop fighting for us. I think that there is also, whatever, I love to see a black woman have fun. Yo, what are we talking about? Donald Trump is bringing about the end of a former era of American empire and making making the collapse of American empire more violent, okay, instead of managing the decline and trying to seize control over the reins of the wealthiest nation on the planet and move it in an appropriate direction. We are bouldering towards fascism, okay? If you think that this is just like a congressperson having fun, I don't know what to tell you. I feel like this is unimaginably cringe. This is just like the most brat summer shit you could do. This plays really poorly to every single person that's not deeply invested in the maintenance of institutions and the defense of the Democratic Party. It comes across as tone deaf. People got mad during COVID at nurses that were dancing, okay? And those people were literally out there saving lives, and people were mad about the TikTok dances that nurses were engaging in every now and then, okay? I think this is just worse than that. Telling you, be careful of the liberal black misleadership class. These folks don't care about poor working class black people. Remember, this is not about race, but their class positions and their role in maintaining the system while selling out working class black people. Yeah, look, I'm not even getting into that. All I'm saying is I just think it's like tone deaf. I think it comes across as tone deaf. Like doing TikTok dances as the federal agencies, the administrative state is being gutted into oblivion is shocking to me. That's all I'm saying. I want more bold leadership from younger representatives, okay? Jasmine Crockett is a young representative. It's just like this kind of stuff just comes across as tone deaf and performative and silly. It's not a good look for her. It's a worse look for you. What? I don't know. If you're mad at her for dancing, I'm mad at you for having smoke for one of the few members of Congress doing literally anything. Please get a grip. Yeah. No, I think I think it's not going to happen. It's not. All right. No, we're not getting healthcare. No, it's cool. No, never mind. But also, black women do so much work, and honestly, leave her alone. I knew it. I knew that this was gonna. Yeah. I can't even say it's like cringe. I shouldn't have even brought it up. It's just so. It's not Jasmine Crockett's fault if we don't get healthcare because she danced. No, I'm saying that's not the reason why we're not getting healthcare. The reason why we're not getting healthcare is because you're all docile little peasants. Sorry. That's why. None of you have the willingness to fight, and none of you have, or every single person that looks at that and goes, at least she's doing something, is gleefully standing aside as the American collapse is taking place. And you will all suffer in this process. We will all suffer in this process. Okay? And if you can't comprehend the point I'm trying to make there, I don't know what to tell you. It's not just Jasmine Crockett. That's just cringe. It's fine. The reaction to this performative dance piece overall is more frustrating to me than even the fact that she did the dance piece. The reaction you're getting is exactly why Trump won. Yeah, I mean, that's definitely a part of it, for sure. But it's also the other part of it, because, yes, people do despise black women in general and black people in general. So it's both sides of that argument that is the reason why Donald Trump won. It's both the fixture of white supremacy in American politics and how much of a formative role it plays. It's also simultaneously the fact that people respond to that in an unironically reactionary way on the liberal side of the process with the rad-lib nonsense, political movements, and refuse to recognize that what we need is more Al Greens. Okay? Your foul outrage at her is even more blatantly performative. Yeah, you're right. My outrage. I'm just saying thought you were joking about the fact that you get hit with misogynoir? No. No. Pussy hats, wearing pink, and, holding up signs is not going to cut it. Do you understand? It's just not going to cut it. Also, simultaneously, not hyper-focusing on new clip Hassan Hayes black women. Okay, please stop. Hyper-focusing on first of all, the rad-lib stuff that you guys are engaging with, nobody likes it. Okay, I don't like it. I've never actually allowed. I've actually never given that any sort of space whatsoever. There are valid criticisms, obviously, in terms of the social regress that we are experiencing. Okay, and that I talk about quite frequently, but using this as a performative shield is something that only works with an increasingly smaller group of people, and it just comes across as silly to everyone on the outside. But yeah, Krang had a really good point on this where he said, here's the thing, if you think Trump is a fascist like Hitler was, then you have to accept that this is a ridiculous thing to do. In response to Hitler's policies, some members of the German left party wore purple hats. Do you see how stupid that sounds? You bend down to rad-lib shit so much more than they deserve. This brass summer politics of the Democratic Party is a major part of why the party has failed. Yeah. I want the Democrats to lock the fuck in, okay? And that's what I want. I don't even want that. I need them to lock in. Yeah. Here. She says, we will not normalize, right? She sent this, she wrote this thing out. And there's good parts of it because this part is good. Where she says, I walked out because I want the president of my constituents to know I'm not going to sit here and try to shut down the VA hospital in my district. Great stuff. I'm not going to stand by while you short-staff the FAA. At the same time, planes are colliding in the sky left and right. Dallas Love Field is in my district. Dallas-Fort Worth International is right next door. Texas exports more goods than any other state, and we import more than 48 of them. Tariffs will cripple our economy, kill jobs. All this stuff is good, okay? This is what we should be sticking to, okay? This is what liberals should be sticking to and become even more radical and urge labor militancy, urge unionization, urge networks of support, community organization. Our leaders need to actually fucking lead, okay? That's what I think. And Al Green demonstrated that last night. He put his body on the line. He went out and he stated that you do not have a mandate. You do not have a mandate to cut Medicaid and Medicare. Okay? This is the point. This is what people should be saying every day of the week. This is what our elected representatives should be doing. Okay, so here's the good. The Democrats who hit Trump in his sore spot, bruising his ego and unquenchable need for attention, issued a joint statement. We, the undersigned and duly elected members of Congress, have to make ourselves heard in ways that breaks through times like these. There's no point in hearing Trump's speech because he never does what he says he'll do. All that stuff is good. President wants to erase the progress of the country's made since the Great Depression. All that stuff is good as well. Our forefathers defeated the Nazis. They laid down their lives in Korea, Vietnam, and during the Cold War to stop the spread of communism. Democrats need to drop the militancy and focus on labor militancy, okay? They need to stop trying to behave and present themselves as war hawks. It is so unimaginably stupid that they are doing this. Not only does this perform poorly for many Americans who personally think that war is bad, okay, even if they benefit from it greatly, but nobody believes you when you say this, okay? Nobody believes you when you as a Democrat say like, that's right, we're going to be the real war hawk party. You just look like losers, okay? Trump cozies up to Russia and China while turning his back on our allies and putting thousands of U.S. veterans on the street. He's rolling back laws and protect consumers in Main Street from the big banks and Wall Street. Yeah, it's great. I don't understand it. I don't get it. Especially considering the election that was devastating for the Democratic Party recently, where they did exactly this. They did exactly this and they failed. So why are they still doing that? It makes no sense. Is it incompetence or is it deliberate? I do not know. I'm not going to make inferences. I'm not going to say it's deliberate. Stop being so smug. People do believe this. Stop being so smug. I'm not. I promise you. I'm trying not to be smug. Maybe it's because I'm wearing a turtleneck, so I automatically come across as smug. But I'm desperate. I'm sad. I want our elected representatives to actively combat this fucking psychopathic administration. It's just like what are we doing? You're hyper-focusing on the optics. Am I smug or am I autistic? I don't know. You called us peasants? No, I'm saying people that eat up this garbanzo are behaving with peasant mindset, okay? That's the truth. Sometimes people need a little bit of cold, hard truth, okay? Notice how the overwhelming majority of chat didn't assume that I was talking about them. It's people that actually do feel like this is the appropriate measure of response to Donald Trump, the best way to do it. Anyway, we're hyper-focusing on the optics of a TikTok vid. Yes, I am. And I'm also pairing that up with the optics of Al Green's response. Al Green's response is good. I'm showing you what I think is a good way to react to the ridiculous things that Donald Trump is doing. Okay? That's why I showed both sides of the spectrum. Here it is. I said every Democrat should be exactly like this. Respect to Al Green. Al Green went out there and made his voice heard. He made news. He made news in a disruptive way. He brought incivility to the deliberative body. And it was a good thing. He broke decorum. And the reason why he did that was because he wanted to be heard. What did he do? What did he do in that process? He got up there, waved his cane around, and said, you do not have the mandate to cut Medicaid. That was the appropriate thing to do. Here is his reaction. It's very low audio, but...
Incivility. Who uses his incivility against our civility. He is a person who has consistently been used incivility against civility. Well, look, I'm willing to suffer whatever punishment is available to me. I didn't say to anyone, don't punish me. I've said I'll accept the punishment, but it's worth it to let people know that there are some of us who are going to stand up against this president's desire to cut Medicaid, Medicare, and Social Security.
Were you saying you have no mandate? Is that what you just said?
That's what he has no mandate to cut Medicaid. None.
that the only punishment that you were kicked out, sir? Is there something?
I don't know. Whatever the punishment is, I'm not fighting the punishment. This is about the people who are being punished by virtue of losing their health care. This is the richest country in the world, and we have people who don't have good health care.
Yeah.
We've got to do better. And now we're about to cut Medicaid, which is for poor people. Health care has become wealth care for many people, and we can't afford to let that happen.
Is that the only thing that you're protesting?
No, I have other things I'm protesting.
Cheering on dance TikToks in response to a fascist takeover reads as much more smug and elitist than anything you're saying. I don't know why Dems can't show a somber, serious attitude in the face of this awful admin that's just getting started. I want Dems to be angry, sad, and make a fucking plan. Exactly. That's it. That's literally my argument. I think it's infinitely more smug and out of touch to just be like, oh yeah, we're dancing through this problem. Like, you can't check out, okay? You can't. You can't just be like, oh no, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm just, is holding up a sign more effective? No, I don't think so either. I mean, even Rashida Tlaib was doing that as well, but I don't think holding up a sign is effective in that regard either. I think they have to be more disruptive. I think Democrats need to demonstrate messaging discipline on this stuff. This is a perfect demonstration of what it looks like when you actually start implementing these devastating austerity measures, okay? Gutting the administrative state, advocating to cut Medicaid, horrifying legislative or sometimes executive actions that the admin is currently taking. Every single day of the week, they should just be showing everybody, here, I have behind me 500 workers that are laid off. Bring them forward. Be like, hey, here it is, okay? They've laid off, the Republicans laid off 400 FAA positions, okay? 400 people from the FAA at a time when planes are falling out of the sky. Go to the goddamn rubble of a plane crash and bring the FAA people that were laid off and be like, see, they laid these people off. This is the impact. That's what Trump does. That's what the Republicans do. There is no low that they will go to. They will stop themselves from reaching. They do that. They already do that. They straight up will just be like, look, this is a person who is the sister of someone who was violently raped and murdered by an undocumented migrant. Okay? This is why we have to deport all undocumented migrants. Like, what are we doing? People obviously respond to this kind of propaganda. The counter to that is to show the tens of thousands of undocumented migrants that are working tirelessly to pick your goddamn strawberries and shit, okay? To be like, these are normal ass people. They all deserve the proper documentation. They're all Americans. They're what make this country great. Vilifying them is inappropriate, wrong, cruel. That's what they should be doing. In terms of the FAA firings, the Republicans' response to that will be, none of them were directly in the safety inspection side. Okay, but they fired the people that work with the safety inspectors. They fired the technicians. They fired the mechanics. When you fire support staff, you are still undermining the regulatory body and their effectiveness. That's it. It's the same dumb shit that Karen Bass was presenting after the Los Angeles wildfires, where she was like, oh, we didn't fire firefighters. We just lowered the budget a little bit. Yeah, you lowered the budget for the mechanics. And what do you think happens when you lower the budget of the LAFD? Okay, when the support staff is not there, what happens when a fire engine gets dinged up? It just sits in a goddamn graveyard for months on end, not getting repaired. All of a sudden, that fire department is down one, if not two fire engines. They are no longer as effective at combating fires. This is how it works. That's it. These guys are getting away with straight murder. The Republicans are doing everything in their power to destroy the regulatory agencies that are basically hanging on by a thread. And absolutely no one is using this as an opportunity to communicate to Americans that the federal government is there to actually help you, okay? The problem is the federal government is working when it's invisible. All of these regulatory agencies are invisible when everything is good. They're only visible when things fall apart. We must not let it get to that point. It's not murder. What? It's cold-blooded murder. Okay. Like Donald Trump is such a freak that he had like some random girl that got slammed in the face with a volleyball to be like, this person was going to be an Olympic athlete. Yeah, dude, I'm sorry. I saw her. I don't think she looks like she was going to be an Olympic athlete. Okay, no disrespect, but goddamn, you know? Like, what is this loser shit, too? We just have this, like, incredibly loser shit. This incredibly loser mentality. We got Riley Gaines in there, who is famous for just getting dominated by cis women. And then the one time where she tied for 5th place with a trans woman, oh my God, she got a blossoming career out of it. It's crazy to me. Yeah, it's also funny that like this is Rapid Response 47, okay? 19-year-old Peyton McNabb was severely injured by a man during a volleyball game, left with a traumatic brain injury after he spiked the ball against her head. President Trump was proud to sign an executive order to keep men out of women's sports. And then they post this, not realizing that this like literally undermines the argument. Look, they're like, yeah, that's like, I can't believe it. Like, this is what we're doing. Like cis woman or trans woman, doesn't matter. Okay. Anyone that gets spiked in the head like that, they're cooked. What are we doing? Are we acting like sports now is just like these sorts of things don't happen in sports all the time? It happens thousands of times a year. The only reason why this is being presented as like something, an issue of national significance, is because it was a trans person on the other side of the ball. Okay. It's just idiotic rage bait. I don't know how else to describe this. Like, oh, it's so utterly irrelevant. I cannot explain this in any other way, shape, or form. I genuinely don't know how people don't recognize how much of a fucking weirdo crybaby Republicans are being so prominently. Yeah. It reminds me of something I saw recently on my Twitter timeline, which was the video of like an Indian dude being gross and creepy to a woman in a nightclub, right? I'll give you a very good parallel here, okay? Because it's analogous to what we're talking about. It's like sports injuries at every step is fairly common, okay? They just get super mad if it's like the one off chance that it's a trans person that contributed to it to, you know, basically push for a transphobic agenda when trans people by and large are not hurting anybody, okay? And the same, the comparison is that all these people were like, yeah, that's right, we got to kick all these Indians out of the UK. Does anyone have that tweet? And I was shocked because like when white dudes behave like this, all of those same people that say, oh, we got to kick all these Indians out of this country are literally victim blaming. They only care about it if they can push for some ridiculous agenda of like kicking out every Indian person from the UK. Like, it's so obvious. It is so goddamn obvious what this is. Yeah, I saw this. I don't think this person is by any means an ally of mine. Hollow Earth Turf. This is a radfem. But this radfem brought up a very correct point. Weird how men suddenly understand the obvious problem occurring here when the guy doing it is Indian. Okay? Straight up. A harassment incident captured in London has gone viral. Like, do you think this is exclusive to Indians? Are you fucking stupid? No, the difference is the same dudes that are like, oh, we gotta kick out every Indian person from our national boundaries would unironically victim blame if the dude doing this exact same shit, and it happens a million times, okay? It happens all the time. Every woman will tell you that this is a common sight. Okay, it is completely inappropriate. It is completely ridiculous. And it's shit that women unfortunately have to go through on a daily fucking basis. And people who go, oh, deport this Indian man are oftentimes the ones that are doing this exact same thing. But when they're white men doing it, they victim blame. It's inappropriate. When it's an Indian man doing it, and it's completely unacceptable. It's completely unacceptable on both occasions, okay? Combat women being harassed by advocating for mass deportations. You know what I mean? That's just not going to happen. But for many of these people, they don't care about it anyway. Either they don't see it, they don't realize that they engage in the same exact behavior, but they just want to use it as an opportunity to be racist, or they only think it's wrong when an Indian dude does it. This is analogous to, once again, the commonplace, the super common sports injuries. Like, these are the same people who say, like, oh, don't be a pussy. We got to have full contact football. 1 in 10 football players get a concussion, okay? A traumatic brain injury, as Trump called it. 1 in 10. God forbid we get better padded helmets and shit, okay? That's pussy shit, I say. While simultaneously talking about a co-ed volleyball player getting a head injury as the #1 problem in sports. I want to make sure people understand. I'm not saying that like the Indian dude is doing anything appropriate there. It's completely inappropriate, completely unacceptable. The problem is I care about this issue, okay? And I think these guys don't. And they're simply using this as an opportunity to drive home their agenda of mass deportations. It's so idiotic. It's the same principle behind constantly talking about trans people is the only time where you quote unquote care about women's sports. Every other day of the week, you're like, women's sports, get the hell out of here. The only time they quote unquote seemingly care about women's sports is if there's like, God forbid, one trans athlete at the high school level. It's so transparent.
Our Chief Washington Correspondent John Call, our Senior Political Correspondent Mr. Scott. John, let me begin with you. You've covered so many of these addresses. We've never seen one quite like this.
Look, we've grown accustomed to partisan State of the Union addresses, deeply divided reactions, but this, George, really did hit a new level, and that's for a couple of reasons. First of all, in that chamber, the Republicans are more fervent in their support of Donald Trump than anything we saw in his first term. Remember, in his first term, there were still pockets of resistance among Republicans in Congress. Even the Republican leaders weren't fully all in on everything Trump. Those Republicans in that chamber truly loved what they hear and reflected that. And the Democrats clearly haven't figured out how to respond to all of this. Some of them decided to skip the speech entirely. Some decided to walk out. You saw Al Green decided to get thrown out of the speech, but they haven't really landed on how to respond to Donald Trump. I suspect that the reaction in the country will very much mirror what we saw in the hall. A lot of Democrats simply not watching, those who did hating what they saw, and the Republicans truly loving what they are seeing from Donald Trump.
Rachel, take us inside that chamber. You were there.
Inside the chamber, it was a lack of decorum that we have seen repeated at...
Oh my God, I can't believe it. The decorum. It's pretty crazy that it's all about decorum. Like Donald Trump, if he was a little bit more aesthetically, we would straight up have liberals championing, like liberal media championing the Fourth Reich in America. Okay, they care about the aesthetics and the decorum and the civility more than they care about the things that are coming out of Trump's mouth. Okay, what are we doing? What are we doing?
Many of these joint addresses and also the State of the Unions. Leader Jeffries did call for decorum. He asked for a dignified Democrat response. It's unclear if he's going to be satisfied with what Democrats did there. And it was on full display, this sort of disjointed effort from Democrats who are really trying to figure out how to counter the president's message. So yes, Al Green standing up, him being removed. We have never seen something like that play out during the chamber when the president is addressing a joint session of Congress. And then not just that, Democrats also walking out at some point, their backs turned, in some ways trying to do this sort of silent protest, holding up these paddles. Regardless, George, this is a Democratic Party that is really trying to find their footing with very little leverage overall, with Republicans in control of both the Senate and the House.
And John, the president advancing his agenda, but no new policies really in the speech last night.
No, this felt much more like a rally speech. And I thought it was also interesting, George, there's a lot of anxiety in the country, anxiety from federal workers worried about their jobs, anxiety about the tariffs he's just imposed, anxiety around the world about what happened in the Oval Office with Zelensky. Trump didn't seem to be anxious about anything. This is a president who, for the first time in his time as president, is not under investigation and doesn't seem to have a care in the world.
Rachel, familiar exaggerations from the president.
Yeah, and really a lack of reaching across the aisle. He bashed the bipartisanship seal. He took a dig at the immigration and border security bill that his own party negotiated, and really not even mentioning one big thing, government funding. The government sets right on funding in less than a week, George.
I think one of the funniest parts about the speech was how much the Republicans were clapping for Trump undermining the legislative body, which obviously is an aesthetic note and no one really cares about it. But he just kept saying, like, I'm the president, and with my executive power, I have actually fixed everything. And the congressional Republicans were like, hell yeah, sir. We're cucks. We ain't got nothing. We got no motion, sir. We got nothing, sir. We are fucking pathetic. It's great. Great stuff. Anyway, Minority Leader Jeffrey says Democrats showed restraint during Trump address to Congress. And also Senate Dems were dinging their House Dem colleagues over antics at Trump's speech, including Representative Al Green, who is now facing a censure vote in the House. Let's see what Blumenthal had to say.
I wouldn't have necessarily done all the things that were done, but I understand the emotion. He's offering showmanship and bluster and bullying. We need to provide real solutions and avoid taking the bait.
That wasn't any conscious strategy. You know, in terms of responding to that speech, I think there are better ways to do it.
Look, I believe firmly that that should be a room of decorum. Now, that said, I've never seen a speech before where a president trolls, heckles, demeans, and degrades people actually sitting in front of him.
Like, they should be standing firmly by Al Green's side for demonstrating the courage necessary. The worst part of the decorum shit is that CNN brings on total assholes like Scott Jennings, who cries foul and whines on air about people being mean to him, and Republicans in the next sentence goes, also, I want to turn gays into mulch. Nicely, though. Exactly. People put style over substance every step of the way, okay? It is shocking. It is, I mean, I guess it's not shocking. It's just like, it's what happens when people are totally devoid of any sort of material gains being made.
And a vote to censure Al Green could happen as soon as this afternoon. Democrats are going to try to kill that measure. It could happen later this afternoon. Whether they have the votes to do that remains to be seen, as Republicans are eager to punish him for that outburst. Horace?
Yeah, we'll see. I did see the Bernie response. It was decent. It was probably one of the best responses I've seen so far, beyond the fact that, you know, Al Green showed a direct response in the room. Okay?
The House Democratic leader, Hakeem Jeffries, you just heard the speaker there, Mr. Jeffries. What's your response to him saying you're making demands that are unprecedented to keep the government open?
We want to make sure that the government remains open and that we can agree upon a spending bill that meets the needs of the American people in terms of their health, their safety.
Here's how I would talk about this, okay? Here's how you're supposed to frame this. You're supposed to frame this by starting off by talking about how Trump is gutting middle-class jobs by gutting the administrative state, okay? At a time when America is desperately in need of more helping hands, when every single person has experienced some kind of awful service at a point of going to a government agency like the DMV, or when they're flying and there's not enough TSA people, right? We need more people at these positions, not less. So Trump cutting these people, cutting these jobs is horrible for the economy, and it's horrible for everyday Americans. Okay, that's number one. Number two, the Trump administration's appetite for destruction doesn't stop there. They also want to cut social safety nets. Okay, this is completely unacceptable. And then they turn around and demand that we sit idly by and let this happen. We want assurances. We want guarantees. We are going to use all of the political power that we have in these budget reconciliation bills as the Republicans refuse to get their caucuses together. And we are going to fight like hell to make sure that Americans are protected. Okay? That is what you're supposed to say. That is how you're supposed to do this. Okay? You're supposed to reframe the argument around all of the harms that the Republican agenda is contributing to the American death and destruction, and then say, here's how we're going to stop that. We have very limited tools at our disposal, but we will use all of them to make sure that Trump cannot hurt you. I do not care if you're a Republican. I do not care if you're a Democrat. I do not care if you're an independent. You're an American citizen, and you are not going to be threatened. You are not going to lose your job. Your parents are not going to lose their health care. Okay? I will do everything in my power to stop this from happening. And if the Republicans want to continue operating, then they're going to have to come to the table with us, and they're going to have to bargain with us, and they're going to have to rely on us, and we're going to use that opportunity to protect Americans. That is how you're supposed to talk about this issue, not the way that Hakeem Jeffries is tackling it so far.
National security and their economic well-being. And when Congress appropriates the money, the administration, whether it's a Democratic administration or Republican administration, needs to spend that money consistent with improving the lives of the American people. That's not unreasonable. That's entirely reasonable.
Is that a bottom line demand? The Democrats will not vote for the continuing resolution unless they're assured that the president will spend the money that is appropriated?
Well, those discussions are ongoing. Rosa DeLauro is the top Democrat on the Appropriations Committee. She continues to sit down in good faith to try and reach an agreement over the next few days, and we certainly hope that that can happen.
How about, were you comfortable with Al Green, Congressman Al Green, and his interrupting of the president and other moves you saw from Democrats yesterday? You heard Speaker Johnson there say the Democrats were not showing decorum.
Of Democrats showed restraint, listened to what the president had to say, and of course we strongly disagree. The biggest problem that I had with the speech is that there was nothing said, nothing laid out, nothing articulated by Donald Trump to meet the needs of the American people, particularly as it relates to the economy. Donald Trump promised to lower costs.
I think a show of support to Al Green here is also necessary. You are literally the House Minority Leader. I don't even think Nancy Pelosi would speak like this. It is shocking. This is Hakeem Jeffries, who Nancy Pelosi chose as her replacement. I think in spite of all of my many very significant disagreements with Nancy Pelosi, she was absolutely mama bear when it came to protecting her caucuses, protecting her representatives. She even went out. She even at times defended Ilhan Omar. Okay, she defended AOC. She put them in positions within the Democratic Party. There's a lot of backdoor dealings that Nancy Pelosi engaged in an effort to make sure that that the Democratic Party presented a unified front. Hakeem Jeffries is not capable of doing this. He just comes across like a pushover. I cannot believe we have another Chuck Schumer now in the other position of power in the Democratic Party. This is literally one of the worst aspects of Chuck Schumer. He is awful at whipping people, okay? He does not use Dick Durbin in the ways that he's supposed to. Dick Durbin is the whip in the Senate. Chuck Schumer is the leader. Chuck Schumer is awful at whipping votes, possibly by design. It is alarming that Hakeem Jeffries is like also a Chuck Schumer type here.
In fact, he promised to lower costs on day one. We know that grocery prices aren't going down, they're going up. Inflation is going up, and the stock market is going down, which is hurting the retirement security of everyday Americans.
You heard Speaker Johnson there. He said,
I will unironically replace every New York Democrat in a position of power, every California Democrat within a position of power in the Democratic Party with like some Midwestern pro-labor Dems, dude. Put guys like Sherrod Brown, who obviously is, he's no longer active, but like that style of Democrat would be infinitely better at communicating the desires of the working class. People like, Tim Walz. Like, these are people who are absolutely better at not coming across like an out of touch, boring dude in a suit I don't know why anyone thought City Slicker Dems were great communicators to begin with. It's just like they reek of elitism and they demonstrably cannot read the room. I think ultimately when they talk to their constituents, if they talk to them at all, they're talking to the wrong constituents. They're getting their notes from the worst possible people.
Tariffs have worked in the past, they're going to work again.
Tariffs against our North American allies and others that are being applied in a ham-handed fashion are going to further erode the economy.
In my opinion, the bigger issue is not New York CA reps. The issue is that the average age is like 88. I will force retire primary any dem over 60. We need those old fucks and how they get fucking power. They're ruining us because they're so out of touch. That's a bigger issue. I think that's definitely contributing to the problem. And it's not necessarily that they're old. Being old definitely does put you out of touch. But it's also the many decades that you've spent in Congress. The more time you spend in Congress, because, I mean, look at Hakeem Jeffries. He's young. Okay? Hakeem is young in comparison to all of the... He's 54. So he's spry. Okay? He's young and spry. So, and yet he is still having a hard time communicating in a way that makes sense. I think that when you spend a lot of time in Congress, you become infinitely more out of touch because the only people you talk to are lobbyists. And they present a false narrative of how things work, and they delude congressional representatives into believing that they have more broad support than they actually do for the issues that they care about. And many congresspersons don't even care about broad popular support anyway. They just care about eating fancy lunches, eating fancy dinners, getting their children into good schools, and getting their immediate family members into positions of power. Be the Rat says, imagine getting on Twitch to listen to a terrorist and his opinions. Fuck you, Hassan. Let's get this terrorist banned off the platform. Fuck people like Hassan and anyone who supports them. I'm going to unban this person with the hopes that they will listen to the words that are coming out of my mouth. Okay? Hassan, don't give them attention. No, it's fine. I mean, people just keep yelling into the void like this, and it's just inconsequential, and they don't understand it, and it makes them more resentful. Weirdly enough, my hope is that one day those people will keep tuning in with hatred in their hearts and eventually go, wait a minute, I kind of agree with this person, and they'll get it.
Economy, and we're seeing the consequences of Trump's inattention, inaction, and now his direct assault on a stable economy by enacting these tariffs. Costs are going to continue to go up, and the American people will be hurt.
Did Democrats hear anything from the president last night that they can support?
I was struggling to hear anything relative to what the president had to say in terms of bringing the country together. That was one of the most partisan and divisive speeches ever delivered by an American president, and that's unfortunate. We will continue to try to solve problems for everyday Americans. We want to make life better for every single American in every community, in every corner of this country. But it's unfortunate that our Republican colleagues seem more determined to pass a massive tax cut for their billionaire donors while at the same time cutting Medicaid, perhaps in the largest possible fashion ever in this country.
You also heard the speaker there say that these protests that many Republicans and some Democrats are seeing in their district to the cuts by Doge and Elon Musk are by paid protesters.
Republicans are proposing the largest Medicaid cut in American history, George. Children will be devastated. Families will be devastated. People with disabilities will be devastated. Seniors will be devastated. Nursing homes will close and hospitals will shut down. The American people are upset about the effort to take away their health care. These aren't paid protesters. These are concerned citizens. The Republicans can try to run away from their extreme budget. We will not let them hide.
Congressman Jeffries, thanks for your time this morning. Robin?
It's interesting because even when he's saying the right things, I feel like he's so sauceless. I don't know how else to describe it other than it's just like is devoid of charisma at a time when like we do need it.
I should probably go to bed.
He just kind of.
Thanks for hanging out. All of nobody who's watching. Love you so much. Heart goes which probably isn't healthy. That's what it's doing for you. If you're watching this, you have no idea. If love was like energy, like on par with like solar or atomic or any of these forms of energy, my love for whoever's watching would obliterate them in the best way possible. I mean that. Really do love you. Imaginary nobody. Imaginary nobody. I'm imagining watching this. You are the best. Do anything for you. Okay, bye.